Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is April the 13th, 2025 on the ancient moon calendar. And this is the full moon time, just so that everyone is aware. Oh my word. The full moon has been so beautiful and just so amazing for us. Today is the last day of our 3-day full moon fast. As many of you know, that the day before, the day of, and the day after the full moon, we do a full moon fast, and you can fast however you choose to fast. So there are some who choose to fast for us this time, we did water only for the entire 3-day period. There are some, we did water and sea salt, because the sea salt just adds so much to our fasting time. And then there are some, if you choose to fast from, let's say, bad energy or anything like that, which should be a lifestyle, really. And also, if you will, to fast from speaking certain spells, because a lot of times, you know, our language has to change. Once we declare who we are, our language must change. It must change, so that we do not, so that we do add blessing to our lives and not anything that's not a blessing and not prosperity. We want to add prosperity and wealth and abundance to our lives through our words, because in the beginning was the Word was with us, and the Word is us. And speaking of the Word, we're going to go ahead and share our screen so that we can present a few things to you. For clarifications from the previous Congress, the April the 6th Congress that we had this previous Sunday, we will to clarify something that we stated at that time. And this clarification is being made now. You will not see the original statements that we made, because we edited them out of that Congress. We stated that now that we've established our identity on the public record, that we could move straight to subject matter, but we will to not deviate from our processes. Proper identification for all parties is always the first order for conversation. No matter who we're speaking to, proper identification of the parties is necessary. Now, where Moors are concerned, where we're concerned, we just acknowledge each other's nobility, our divinity in each other. And we call each other empresses and emperors and nobles and chief justices, and because we are all chief justices, we're all emperors and empresses. We're all the nobility. You know, not a single one of us is below that status. Everyone who is of the original indigenous ancient bloodline and birthright is all titles at the top. We do not have anyone who is of the original indigenous bloodline that is a subject. However, there are some who do not know who they are, and until they decide to wake up and know who they are, then sometimes they act like subjects and citizens and so on and so forth, and that causes problems for them. With that being stated, something that the ancestors has been making very clear, and we've been speaking about this on the public record about the Word, because again, in the beginning was the Word was with us, and the Word is us, because every word that we state manifests. And that is the purpose of the clarification. Our process is that no matter what the dialogue is, what the conversation is, or even what the language is, we properly identify ourselves and whoever it is that we are speaking to or for, because we do speak for subjects, and the ignorant. How powerful is the word? How powerful is the word? Did you know that if no one ever said the word God or Bible, that neither one of those would exist? If no one ever said the word God, then there would be no God. So we create with our words. If we don't recognize or say or acknowledge certain things, those things will not exist. And that's something that we as a nation and as the government, that is something we must continue to perfect in our own lives first, and then as we speak on the public record and at our courts, which are everywhere, is that there are some things that it is necessary that we not say. For example, we never, ever, ever give anyone a title, ever give anyone a title if they're not us. No one gets a title. That's according to the Constitution. So we're speaking the law here. No one gets a title, so we don't call anyone else judge, governor, principality, ruler, none of that. We don't call anyone else that. Each other, yes, as we deem that necessary. But never anyone else. And that's biblical, and it's also according to the Holy Quran and all the other great books, all the other original ancient writings. Because again, when we stop saying certain things, those things will stop existing. Yeah. When we stop talking about certain things, those things will not exist. They won't. Islam, Empress.
Can we get clarity on how we are introducing ourselves when we approach anyone? Of course, we first give the court action.
So this is what I normally do. Everywhere I go, I do the same. I say the same thing. My first thing that I state is, upon approaching someone or someone approaching me, is, what is your name? That's what I say. What is your name? And then I say, I am liked. Or I'll say, I am Pauline. So when asking the name first, that's the court action. When we look back at what was done in the previous era, even when we were in management, when someone who was quote unquote higher up came around, the first thing they would say is, oh, what's your name? They were doing a court action on us and we didn't even know it because we were asleep. But now we know. And these days, our dynamic and our outreach is expanded and extended. So when I'm approaching other Moors who may or may not be sleeping, my first question to them is, I ask them what their name is also, and then I state who I am. And then I say to them, the reason that I'm asking your name and introducing myself is because I said to myself that I was going to get out and speak to people who look like me. this year. Now, again, we're not excluding anyone. We're not excluding anyone. However, our Grand Chief Ties talked about remedying the nigger problem, quote unquote. That means the remedy for the nigger problem is that we start talking to each other more and start introducing ourselves. So I just say, you know, I decided that this year I'm gonna speak to people more often, and I'm gonna get out and just introduce myself. I at least wanted to acknowledge you. Period. Okay, that's what outreach looks like. It's that simple, and I did it yesterday, and it worked out so well. It worked out very well. Very well.
Might I add to my experience?
Islam.
So what you just expressed is exactly how I do it. And then I take it a little further. Sometimes it just kind of depends. I identify them as to who they are. Say, for example, I'll look at them and I'll say, you're Irish, or you are German and English, because I have learned to a degree now that I know how to recognize them and tell them exactly who they are.
Well, but Empress, you got to remember, I'm assuming that you're talking about the pale ones.
I am.
Okay, so that's a misidentification of them.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is. You see, who they are is they're German citizens or Irish citizens, because the original Germans and the original Irish and the original Australians, the original Japanese, the original Africans, the original everyone, and the original Europeans are us. So always put the word subject or citizen, and I will call it a subject in a heartbeat, and they never rebut that. They never rebut it.
Because that's the exact reason why I brought it up. Is because I wanted to make sure that I'm saying things proper in the proper way, proper manner, and also identifying them. So this is perfect. I'm grateful that you shared and let me know the correction on that. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I also noticed, that sometimes when I ask them who they are, no, not who they are, but where they're from, mm-hmm. and they will answer, I'm an American. And I immediately come back and say, no, you're not. And then I let them know you have to be me in order to be an American. And they get so puzzled. I get this puzzled look on their face, and it's almost like their expression would be, okay.
I can guarantee you that they will never argue with you about that, though.
They won't. They do not. They do not. It's almost like they already know before I even get through. They already know, and they know exactly where it's going, because they know they're not from here, and they know you got to be me in order to be an American. They're not.
And that's good, Empress. When we say things like that with the right spirit, they know that they don't have to act anymore. Okay.
Yes.
When we say it with the right spirit, because those are not ego statements, those are truths. For example, when I went to do a demonstration at a place, someone came. The ones, of course, it was some modern Europeans, and we say modern Europeans because that's what that is. Modern European citizens. The guy was saying that he's, I asked him where he was from, and him and his buddy, I asked them where they were from, and they were like, oh yeah, I was born. The first thing they say is, they don't ever say I'm from here. They say I was born here, because they know the words to use. They say I was born here. And it is at that point that I make it clear, and they know this already. I just ask them, so what year did your grandparents, your grandmother and grandfather, what year did they come here? That's when the eyes get big and they act like, how did you know that? Because either your grandparents or your great-grandparents came here from somewhere. So I asked them, where did they come from? And usually it could be either one, but it could be grandmother or grandfather or great-grandmother and great-grandfather. Where did they come from? And then they'll tell you, oh, they came here from Germany. Oh, they came here from Ireland. They came here from Wales or England or wherever. And that's, those are not ego statements. That is properly identifying the parties, because even at that time I was doing a court action, and proper identification means they understand that I know who they are, and I understand that they know who I am.
Yeah.
It's not about ego. It's not about division. In fact, those facts bring us together in the way that we should have been together in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, that's unity. That's proper unity. It's not upside down unity.
Right. So I am so happy that we're having this conversation, because I really wanted to or speak on this, because I really wanted to make sure, first of all, that I had the proper thought in expressing myself and asking the questions about them, where they come from, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, I'm noticing when I do that, I also see them getting in subject status.
Yes, very easily, very quickly. They know who we are and all of that.
Yes. So I just thought it was amazing. Islam.
Yeah. See, they were acting the whole time. They were acting and they were being fictions the whole time. All we're doing is putting them in their proper role, because that's the role that they're supposed to have. And that's not an ego statement or anything. That's just, those are facts. That is law, and that is truth. We love it. Islam, Empress.
I just wanted to say something about what the Empress was talking about.
Islam.
I think I had a different experience. I was about 24 years old, and I went to school to a college, and they was teaching dental assisting. And my grandmother is the one that, had me go. But she got tired of me not doing anything. So, and what she told me was, when you're talking to people and people are talking to you, ask them what their nationality is. I had no, whatever grandma say do, I do. That's how it was. So I'm talking to people, and I said, hey, what's your nationality? And they said, oh, well, I'm, from India. I'm from China, Chinese. I'm Korean. Because the university that I went to was very diverse. And then they let in an international program. So this is what I know. You know what? And the light bulb went off maybe later on, that no one asked me what my nationality was.
Because they already knew. That's the funny part.
Yeah, nobody said back to me, oh, well, what's your nationality? No one did that. So, I praise my grandmother for that, because now years later, I could fall back and I said, well, you know what? She knew.
Yeah.
She understood, Islam.
My aunties and them knew too, but they didn't. My mother's aunties, so my grand aunties knew it, but there had been some fear put in them about that, about telling us who we are and things of that nature. So they didn't do it. But my mother low key made me aware of something.
Right. Praise our elders and our ancestors. Gratitude for letting me speak. Islam.
Empress Yamaya, our ancestors are God. Your mother is God. My mother is God. They're all God. That's where creation comes from, the wombs, okay? So they told us what they gave us just enough information to free ourselves, so that when we think back, we connect the dots and it all comes together. Period. And see, here's the thing. Bears have baby bears. Eagles have baby eagles. How is it that the gods, some would say, oh, the gods had black children or blacks? No, the gods had other gods. We're God, period. The creator is God. The one doing the creating is the God. The wombs is where creation happened. Listen, they knew, but they couldn't tell us either. And that's why I said what I said earlier about, for example, addressing, like if people are online and they're saying these denigrating things and all of this kind of stuff about whoever, we need not waste our energy, our divinity on responding to that stuff. That because see, our lives that we live will be the response. Our lives will be the response. So that we don't have to, we don't have to waste energy on trying to address that stuff. We just have to be the law and be who our mothers and fathers taught us to be. Period. In their low key way. Some of us have mothers and fathers who didn't tell us anything. But you're here, so you didn't really need that, did you?
Islam.
Islam.
You see? You see? You're still God. Period. And nothing can stop that. See, this age that we are at, it doesn't go in reverse. This is the age of knowing. This is the age of Aquarius. No one can change that. No fraudulent video of somebody pretending to be a president or pretending to be a governor, none of that pretend stuff, that fiction can change that we know who we are. And that won't go backwards. It won't go back to what it was previously, because that's not how time works. We didn't design time to do that. We didn't design it to do that. So Islam nobility.
You had mentioned about, I'm trying to recall, once you do a court action, what happens, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I noticed communication stopped. But I had to act though. Yeah. I had to cut it off first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I had to commit, because I wanted to do away with this fiat, right?
Yes.
Using. And
yes.
I noticed it, but I'm waiting to see if there will be any communication. And plus, I'm looking for other ones who have not communicated. But I'm seeing it.
Nobility, if you look for it, after a while it may manifest, and that's why we move on, because we notice that, let's just move on. Because anything that we put our attention on is going to grow. And so that's why you're doing all the right things.
Yes.
All the right things. Yeah.
And I want to say that it's important to continue to study yourself, because if you stop studying yourself, you're going to become a problem to yourself, as we have been. You know, and I don't think a lot of people actually see that you are your problem. You are your obstacle. You got to get around yourself.
All of the problems and issues that you thought you had will disappear like that when you do that. Because it was the gods that said, we're going to do this Keynesian experiment, the American experiment. We're going to do this experiment. We said that. We said we're going to go to sleep to who we are, and we're going to pretend to be black and Negro, colored and African American, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, now it's time to get back in your spot. So we must be in our proper place. And here's the thing, we're already in our proper place. We just have to say it and then continue to walk in that. That's it. It's very simple. Yeah, it's very simple.
Going back to being the word.
Yes, woof. Powerful. Very powerful. That's it. That is our job. That's our responsibility. And the whole earth knows that already. They already know. When we want better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. If we want something different to happen, we got to do something different than what we were doing previously. It works. I can tell you that. It works like a charm. I'm telling you. One of the things Islam Empress Cynthia.
Are you sure? The Proclamation of 1763.
Yes.
Who is George talking to? I know he's not talking to us because we don't sell our land. So I assume he's talking to the subjects, giving them guidance. Am I correct?
That is a draft. So he really wasn't talking to anybody. He was just saying, Moors, are you okay with this? If you are, put this on the public record. And if not, edit it and change it according to your will. That's really what he was doing. That's why they all the way, people are everywhere. Because we have not spoken on that part yet. That's why I put it before the Congress and said, read it so that we can, at some point we'll look at it and make the decision. But Empress, we gave them grants. That's where the word immigrant came from. And migrant came from. Is we gave them a grant of land. That's not the title. It's not the title. It's while you're here, do this and work this and do that until we say otherwise. So now where we are, Empress Cynthia and Moors, is we have to decide how that's going to work. Because we, as we can see, everything is open for us to. We must rule on everything. We must. And that proclamation says that no foreigners are supposed to be on the west side of the Appalachian Mountains.
That's right.
So we have to, again, we have our choice. We can set that aside and not ever do it, or we can take parts of it and do things with it. It's up to us completely.
Islam.
I
think it would be wonderful if there was some place on the land that they're not. I yield.
Wow. Wow.
Islam Empress, can you open up the meeting, please?
Yes, Empress, I can. Thank you. Well, Empress Rose, tell us how you really feel.
It kind of goes along the line of drinking water.
Yeah.
One of the comments that the prophet made about them drinking water and sailing the seas.
Yeah, he said they were going to have to take on a lot of water. I will say this about that. Now, we first and foremost, even if we said none of them on Earth at all ever, no more modern people on Earth, just original indigenous, they'll actually go away. It's a matter of attrition, of what they call attrition. Attrition just means that over time they'll be phased out, which is going to happen anyway. Even when I was in my sleep, they were saying that in 200 years we were all going to look the same, and everybody's going to be brown skinned. Well, yeah, that's true. We're not mad at them. We love them. They were obviously created to be temporary. Created to be temporary. They are aware of that because every 7 generations, even at what was called the highest levels of their subject status, they would start intermingling again, sort of like Meghan Markle and that whole situation, because they're at 7 now. That was 7 generations, and if this experiment were to continue, which we're probably not going to have it continue, because it really doesn't need to continue. But if we will to have them acting for another 7 years or another 7 generations or 4 generations, and they say 4 generations, then they would be willing to do that, and they do want to do that. They want to go another 4 more. They want to go at least 1 more round. This is what those are their words. They want to go at least 1 more round. That's what they're saying. Please let us go at least 4 more years or 4 more generations. And for us, when we as a Congress, and guess what? This Congress gets to decide that. Because we're the ones who are aware of that. And we're not saying that no one else gets to decide that, but we get to decide it for us. So we're not mad at anyone or anything like that, but once that decision is made, whenever it's made, for them to, by attrition, go away, then the 1,000 years of peace that the Biblios talks about will be 1,000 years of peace. Because as you know, in the previous era, when we thought that America is a peaceful place and no terrorist acts on here and none of that stuff, when we thought that was peace, that was actually war. Except they were warring directly against us, and we warred back because we were like, no, we're the citizens, and they're like, we're the gods, and we're like, we're the citizens and they're whatever, and in God we trust and all of that. That was that enactment. That's war because it's not true. That's what makes it war, is that it's false. So while they had us thinking that the war was over in Vietnam or over in Afghanistan or over in Libya, it was always here within us. Because did you know that that the term that they use for civil war really just means us warring within ourselves? That's because they won't war against us when we know who we are. They won't, because they're subjects. They won't. We didn't program war into them when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's why we sit here, we stand here freely and don't worry about, we don't worry about things. because we know that they're not going to war when we know who we are and we use our courts to speak. And we're peaceful. Period. It's by the word that happens. See, one thing that we do not really need, and a lot of Moors, they don't get this yet, but they'll get it after a while once their pen gets really, really sharp, is that we don't need anything that's not us. So we don't need someone outside of us to be law enforcement for us when we can enforce the law ourselves. Peaceful, competent, speaking with our courts at all times. We'll be fine. Because any test that we might have faced, there was no one there anyway. There was no one there when you did your big test. Whatever that test was, there was no one there with you. You were there with you. You tested by yourself. Okay? So with that being stated, I'll say this. What we do will to do now at this point is the continued national trade. We did the national trade launch, and so we will to continue that. So this coming Sunday is Ishtar. The 20th is Ishtar. Ishtar means producing. In the previous era, we called it reproducing, making babies, producing wealth, generating wealth, etc. That is what we will to continue. So we're going to be going back out into the territory and onto the territory. And of course, we're going to be giving notification. This is notification on the public record as well. We're going to be giving notification that we're going to be out. We're going to start setting up out at the territories and just signing people up, not persons, people. Signing people up to receive a attribution of whatever it is that we give. Now, let me say this about that. It will be easier for us to get people to sign up to receive, for example, our seall when we put that process with some other initiative that assists in helping people. So, for example, the way that our ancestors gave us, the process or program that our ancestors gave us is, and we mentioned this briefly before, was we are going to do a 506C Regulation D bond and our sea salt backs the bond. So whatever it is that you produce, or whatever company it is that you have, please charter your companies on the public record by court action and by affidavit. That's important, so that your company is not filed under a U.S. anything. Notify that that's been done. And then what we do is once we notify that, okay, we're going to begin, and we've put this on the public record, but this is the process. Then we notify that that we're going to be out on the land, signing people up to receive what we have in exchange for their support of the 506C Regulation D bond initiative. The bond initiative is going to be for our erudition temples, so we can say it's for our children. It's going to be for everything from infrastructure to erudition to what else? To any other infrastructure things that we have that we will to speak about and to do. And there is a multiple layered approach and a multiple layered reason for doing this way. Number one is, like Empress Imani stated earlier, to get our faces to be seen governing processes, governing resources, governing. So when I go out and I set up my little stand and I have my little displays of salt, I just put 7 or 8 of them out there, displays of salt. Those displays are displays. They will not be given to people unless the Spirit lead me to give it to someone. They will be used as and we may take some out to give to people. If they sign up on the spot, they can have the salt right there on the spot. But their signature will support the bond initiative, the 506C Regulation D bond provision. Now, 506C is a commodities and natural resources delegation, not delegation, category. 506C Regulation D is a natural resources category. So that's what we're going to do is say, if we could get your name and address, we'll send you the salt in order to support, we're collecting signatures to support our 506C delegate Regulation D initiative, so that we can build up infrastructure and build up our erudition temples and structures. It's just to improve infrastructure, period. And when we say infrastructure, that's all encompassing. Okay. Now, the reason we're getting the signatures of anyone, it doesn't matter whether they're subjects or Moors, the signatures alone is the people. Okay. Our more effective places to go and do that would be in areas where there are more Moors, more sleeping Moors. So it's going to be in areas where, where we are. However, a waterfront or a mall or wherever else would be good places too. Now, again, Moors have always known that we're the top and the head of everything. That's true. These type demonstrations will assist each and every one of us. Number one, with letting everyone know that yes, we're here. We're here. We're real. We're not like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. We're real. The original indigenous people are real. That's number one. Number two, this is all about government, governing and government. And then number three, the signatures are going to be converted to proper status signatures. Okay? So our entire database will just state that whoever signs this is on the land. They're not lost at sea. Now, that's not something we have to explain to them, because a lot of them won't get that. But we will know what we're doing with the information is when they sign that and we bring that information back to where we are, they're on the land. And watch the atmosphere and watch everything be what it's supposed to be. See, once we put that out there into the atmosphere, we have the wind beneath our wings where the atmosphere and the words are concerned. That's why our words are so important, Morris. And so we're going to, at each of the territories, you know, it would be great if we can't tell sovereigns what to do, but we just know that this is a starting point for the growth of the empire. People get to see what the empire looks like. They get to see who's governing the empire. They get to see that we're doing it using natural resources and not anything crazy or, you know, foreign or false. And we get to talk to people. They get to see us face to face, and we get to see them face to face. We're going to be ourselves on the land. Now, I will tell you that in the spirit realm and in the natural, yes, it's all for the growth of the empire. We have, in the spirit realm and in the natural, we've had some questions about why won't we let the representation piece continue? Why, you know, because people were representing, they were pretending to speak for the people. They're called they were calling themselves politicians, but we don't call them that. They're subjects. But they were pretending to speak for the people, and in the spirit realm and in the natural, they're saying, why won't you let us keep that going? And what will we do if we can't do that? You will get back in, you are already in subject status. That is the answer to that. And you will do what subjects do. Period. And there's no question about how that happens, because subjects know. They know what they were doing when they first got here. Their grandmother told them. So we don't have to keep explaining that. Just like we never really had to explain who we are. They've always known. Like Empress Yamaya stated, nobody ever asked her nationality, because if she had said a real nationality, the rest of them would have had to be in subject status and couldn't be who they said they were. See how everything flips back, right? When we are who we are? Period. I saw something in the chat a little while ago, and I was waiting for the ancestors to give me what to say about it. We can't tell sovereigns what to do, but I see something in the chat there. Justice Johnny Jenkins Bay has put something there where he has altered the Dollarium or changed the Dollarium to something else. So I will state this. We voted on how the Dollarium should look. There was an entire process that took place about that. Again, we can't tell you what to do, but this is our thinking when we suggest, and it's a suggestion, when we suggest that everyone use the same money for now. We know that before we change the money, are you using it in your daily life already? That's the question. And you don't have to answer that, because we know the answer to it already. What we're doing is presenting just same thing that we did with our letterhead. We presented the letterhead and said everyone use the same letterhead, and it worked. It worked like a charm. It worked. There's no previous actors who don't know that that's the letterhead. Everyone knows it. You can Google it and it'll come up millions of times, actually, because we did the thing. We did the Google search. So at this point that we're at right now, we suggest that Dollarium not be altered, because we did vote on it as a Congress. Again, we can't tell you what to do. We just know that recognition of our letterhead happened because we were all using the same one. You see? So we're not trying to stop. We can't stop you from doing whatever it is you're doing. Be prepared to demonstrate it. And that's the thing. That's the point of unification and of us all being one when we speak. Because from the beginning, we said we speak with one voice. We voted on Dollarium, that being the money. We voted on what the money would look like. We voted on how to use the money. And so, you know, from our perspective, it is wisdom on our part because we've seen it in the past. We saw it work in the past with the letterhead and with everything else that we've been doing. That when we are all using the same instruments and the system is seeing that there's agreement, then there's no rebuttal to what we're doing. So our question when with what you've done, because you're not the first one to do that or ask that question or ask about that, because others, there were even subjects trying to change it and asked us, can we change it? And we told them no, that you can't even use it unless you get it from us. But because we couldn't use that fake fiat unless we got it from them. So come on now, let's just, you know, we're thinking. So others have asked that question as well. And again, we can't tell sovereigns what to do, but we also know that there is a level of demonstration. If you're going to start your own government, you must be prepared to demonstrate that. And see, we've all worked really hard to get where we are right now. And we know that there's no one who doesn't know who we are earthwide. No one who doesn't know who the consulate is, who the courts are, who the Moors are. They know who the government is. We have consulates governing at all the territories, Thailand, Japan, everywhere, all places. So we also know that when we look at the fiat piece, they kept all the fiat the same. They didn't have somebody else in, you know, doing their own thing, because they already knew that if it comes from a place, a central place, that it can be controlled, and then anybody who uses it can be controlled. So it was also a control mechanism in the fiat piece. With us, it is a matter of, can you demonstrate that? And how has it been done before? Do you know the process? Have you put processes on the public record? And we know for sure that you've not put the whole process on the public record, or else we would have known, because we know who's putting processes out there on the public record. In order for you to use that, you have to actually put the processes. You have to go through each of the processes to put it on the public record. Congress has to vote on that, or a government has to grow to vote on that. You know, have you had consensus and unification on the use of it? And those are just questions that we're just saying, think about these things. Are we opposed to it? No, we're not opposed to it, but we do know that processes must be in place. One thing we do know is that there were processes, there were Moors, and this is what I was about to state, that for years and years, individual Moors were doing things, and we honor what they were doing. But we know that we've seen the most movement when we came together. We're seeing the most movement because we are one. And we know that sovereigns can go and do whatever they will to do. We will never, ever stand in the way of that. Never, because we can't. Sovereign is a sovereign. But for things to be easier for you, there was no need for us to even reinvent the wheel. We just had to actually buckle down and get the processes done together, all of us. So those are our thoughts on redesigning the Dollarium. And, if, it would be different if we had voted on that. But at some point, when you show, and I'm going to say this, I'm feeling a little reservation to say it just because I know I'm speaking to sovereign. But when you demonstrate that you are governing in unity with government, and you do it that way, then that's different. When a group of governors and government comes together and learns the processes and then does the processes, then we'll be happy to trade with them using their currency. We'll be happy. We're for example, there are other governments out there that have organized themselves, similar to what we've done and things like that. Whenever they create their own money, or they can use Dollarium. We voted on what the Dollarium should look like, so they can use it as it is, because that's, if they agree to use it, then they agree to use it as it's presented. But we can't stop anyone from doing whatever it is they do. We just know that you're going to have to demonstrate it. And it has to, and if you try and put it out there and it's not ready to be out there, then you're going to have to demonstrate. And we just will that everyone, the point of us taking these steps was to make it easier for everyone. That was the point of making these, of coming together, unifying, talking about things, doing our research. The point of that was to make things easier for all of us. And so we will that it be easy for everyone while maintaining our sovereignty.
Point of interest?
Yeah, Islam, Empress.
Okay. I was just inquiring, how does one do banking when it comes to navigating in commerce? Because there's not many options for us for banks.
So
not that I know of anyhow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's only a matter of some facts and laws that you're not aware of yet. We have more options than anyone where banking is concerned, because each and every one of us is the bank. And this is what we're saying about Dollarium and all of that right now even. Each and every one of us is the bank. And I'll ask this question, but it's a rhetorical, not rhetorical. It's a question that you don't have to answer right now. Whatever it is that you produce, you can do your banking with. Whatever it is that all of us produces, we do our banking that way. So our banking is between one another always. Okay? The Biblio says, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. Well, God owns Caesar too. So we do know that. Okay, we created Caesar. Caesar is not Caesar unless we say Caesar is Caesar. So where banking is concerned, and we've done these demonstrations, you all have seen our demonstrations. We signed on to our accounts and showed you what was there, and we recorded it and put it on the public record. So where banking is concerned, just demonstrate what you know about liens, levies, and bonds. So there's some things that you must know, Empress. And then once you demonstrate all of that, ultimately I can tell you what the result is going to be. The result of that is going to be the subjects in the Office of Banking System are going to just send back to you or mirror to you the fact that they don't have anything and that you're the wealth. So they're just going to, if you write a $100 million check, they're just going to say, okay, here's a $100 million check back to you. You can use it however you want to use it. That's all they're going to say, because that's what they, when we showed that. We wrote a $10 million check. We wrote a $10 million check, and All they said was, okay, let's just we don't have, they said we don't have $10 million to give her, so we're just going to send her a legal check that she can use the same way she would have used her check. Justice Johnny.
Greetings.
Grand Rising Nobility.
Thank you. I just want to say no disrespect or oversteps on my part.
We didn't take it that way. We didn't take it as disrespect because you're the creator. We know that. We're aware of that.
It was, first I want to share that it was a process. Like, I was not looking for this. Really just focused on some other things. But as this stuff started happening, the concepts that came down, I always say download. It was about a 2-month process. Even with creating the notes, everything that came down. Like, I'm a songwriter, and the way that this came down is the way that songs come to me. And, for example, the series, the numbers on the notes. 3 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened. Look at the picture with Prophet Noble Drew Ali and look at the dates, October 10th through the 20th. And I followed everything, and that's how we came up with the notes for the series. And then the personal note, which was supposed to be part of our reparations program for Moorish people, which solves the problem that we're not sharing the same note that we would be sharing with those who are not Moorish, the national note. And placing Prophet Drew Noble Drew Ali's picture on there. It was a process. I even did a copyright in the name of the nation. It's not mine. It was something that was, let me finish, please. When I finished the process, and it's very detailed, I sent you a copy, I sent Angel a copy, I sent Noble Yatu Bey a copy. I was not trying to move because, first of all, the Congress for me was the ancestors sent for me to learn all the things that I do now know, the processes. There's no way I wanted to embark on moving without the approval or the blessings of the Congress, because it's for us. We, and I said this and I declared this. This is the first reparations bank ever on this land. We don't have to ask anybody to give us anything. We don't have to be at. The only thing we really need from the foreigners is to honor the treaty of peace and friendship and leave us be, because we can figure the rest out. And having a bank where our people can go and do their banking, amongst other things. I sent you the details of everything that was given to me by the ancestors.
And I can tell you right now that of the thousands of emails that I receive, I don't have an opportunity to read them all.
Well, I'll mail it to you. I will mail it to you. But
you don't have to. Well, you don't have to mail it to me because, again, you're sovereign. You can do as you will. I
understand it, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I reached out to, even recently, I talked to Noble Yatu Bey about how to move forward, and we were talking about, well, maybe we'll start with the round table with, that group, and then we'll present it from there. I attempted to present it during the times that we were talking about doing the launch, and somehow I got disconnected and was not able to share at that point. And it probably wasn't a good time now that I'm hearing what I'm hearing. But I agree. It has to be by a process. It has to be done in an orderly and respectful manner, because
it's about respect too, but it's more so about, do you know the legal process?
Yes.
For paper to be circulated.
I know the legal process. I've done my homework, and I've learned to do my homework from gurus like you, and Metu Bey, and all the ones that's out there that's sharing knowledge. Because 10 months ago, I didn't know anything about any of this. This was something I prayed for, to get the knowledge to be free. I'm free today because of the knowledge that I received from individuals like from I want to say guru.
So I will let you know that was not a criticism of you.
I don't.
It was not a criticism.
I don't take it like that. I just wanted to be able to get to this point where you were aware, Congress was aware, and the four others that I sent the package out to. I'm not trying to own it to do anything in and of myself. I want it to be considered, and if it can be considered in a way where we can move forward to it, that's all I ever wanted.
Our only issue is that we've already done that work. That's my only issue with that.
Let me address something. With the Dollarium is what it is. It is what it is. But with these notes, there's no one's picture or image on the notes which has not been cleared by estates like Muhammad Ali or whoever. And then if you want to say restatement, but I'm saying within doing it as it was given to me and the reason why it was given to me for that reason. And I laid that out in the documents I sent to you. The notes are identified. And every note coming from the bank, we've invested in equipment where that money will be cut, so anywhere else over the world, in the world, all that money will look the same. Nobody's having.
So I have a question about the bank. What bank is it? And
it's the Moorish Gold-Backed Dollarium International Bank. # MGB deal. That's the name.
Islam. If I can, may I ask a question, Noble, on what you're speaking on? Can we request to do a Congress on it so it can be displayed not by a few, but by all? And that's just a thought. Islam.
I'm with it.
Congress, what say you? Islam.
I will to state what I see and what I heard.
Me too. This sounds interesting.
Because here's what I'm hearing and here's what I'm seeing. So, in agreement, yes. Dollarium, what has previously been voted on and everything, yes. All of that is complete. However, I don't see a bank. And then on top of that, the way that the process is as of now, we don't have a bank to go to even put our Dollarium in so that we can exchange and even to get a card. We can even do cards and put our Dollarium on the card and spend it at just like the previous era. Now, then on top of that, okay, so just as he stated, it's a bank, and that would be our bank. Right now, we don't have a bank.
Just a moment. Let me just ask, is this a brick and mortar situation that you're speaking of, Justice Johnny?
Islam. In Los Angeles, they always come through with urban renewal, and they got a project called Destination Crenshaw where they run the trains through the city. The Bank of America location was closed down, and we're moving to secure that facility. The answer is yes. But also
so it's not secure yet, but you're moving to secure it.
If I have to purchase the land, I would do it, and we'll build from the ground up. But let me say this.
Purchase it how? Those are important questions.
Homestead. There's a way to do it. Let me say this. I got to get this out. Listen.
Okay.
Piggyback on what the Empress was saying. In that package that I sent you, there's an equity card. That equity card, that means when we walk into the bank and someone wants to confirm or establish their account, they already have $100 million equity up front. We're not asking anybody for credit. Can I get credit? We already got it. And we can use that card. See, I'm saying this because I don't have a cell phone. I'm not paying any bills. Once I learn what it is and what we're dealing with, I'm not going to use a credit card to pay T-Mobile. And until I can solve that problem, I'm not going to have a cell phone. But a couple of weeks from now, I will have my own equity card in my hand that I can use. I know the process to link it to the system where I can pay, where I can settle whatever it is. And I want to say this. When you look at the note, it says this note, and I'm just paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me. It is an equity. It is not a debt note. And the foundation of the bank is equity. And everything that is established is based on the writings and the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I am continuing.
Islam. Am I sounding?
Empress Shasha and then the other Empress. I'll reserve my questions for later.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, go ahead, Justice Johnny. Continue. And then Empress Shasha and then the other Empress.
I think what the Noble suggested is better because it's a lot of information. I mean, even as it deals with the processes of the bank and certain things, like we're not just doing this nilly-willy. And I think that it would best suit everybody if all of the documentation, anyone in Congress can have access to it. I sent you the notes if anybody wants to print them out. But like I said, when we look at it, you understand that a lot of us are still using fiat. There are certain things that we cannot do without using fiat. We just have to be honest. If you're saying you're not using fiat, you're not.
Yes, thank you.
We are using fiat. I'm only using it in 2 instances because I done came down. I'm not going to continue being a slave and taking care of other people. I'm going to flow with the ancestors. And if we agree, can you imagine 40 million so-called black African Americans with $100 million?
Please don't call us that.
I said so-called black African Americans.
Melanated brothers and sisters.
40 million times. More. 40 million times.
More.
4 quadrillion. 4 quadrillion. 40 million times 100 million. 40 quadrillion.
So, Justice Johnny, the things that you're talking about, we've thought about those things. So we're not questioning the process in a way. We're questioning the foundation of the process. I am, because I do that. Any way I question my own processes to be sure that they're not corrupted processes. So, Empress Shasha, and I'll reserve my questions for later. Empress Shasha, and then there was another Empress that had a question as well.
Islam. I'm listening. Are we not the bank?
Yes, we are, but that's still not.
Our Moorish sovereign Dollarium is gold-backed. It is a credit instrument. It is lawful money.
Amen.
What I'm hearing is making absolutely no sense to me because, okay, all right, I don't know the processes of it, but it's counter to what we are all walking towards being and doing up to this point. This to me is like a curveball coming from left field. And also, as far as I'm concerned, when you are coming with, well, anyone is coming with processes to counter something that we have been working on together as Congress for years now. Empress Light has been doing this for 7 years. Our Grand Sheikh Taj Sharif Bey has been teaching this for 50 odd years. But you can come to a congressional and refer to the sovereign people, the Moors, with a nom de guerre, as far as I'm concerned, end of topic. Wheel and come again. I yield.
Point of interest.
Yes, Empress, go ahead. Yes, Empress.
Which one?
You, Empress. What is your
okay. Okay, thank you. It's the goddess, but I have it as the goddess. But okay, so I wanted to interject into that because I wanted to know, is there not room for growth? I'm just responding to Empress Sasha and what she just said, because is there not room for growth? Is there not room for evolution in the way things are done?
Absolutely there is, but must you not perfect the position and stand where you are? You must perfect that before you step or try. You cannot crawl before you walk. And if you can come to congressional and refer to the Moors with a nom de guerre, you have to evolve first and catch up to us.
Okay, and I respect your opinion on that. The idea that he had mentioned the word BLACK.
That's it. It's end. Topic finished.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak to that, please?
Just a moment. Please respect one another. Please, everyone.
Respectful.
I'm just saying in terms of interrupting. Empress Sasha, go ahead and finish your statement, and then the Empress that was speaking, Empress D, that was speaking, we want to just not interrupt one another so that we can get, well, go ahead, because I'm guilty of interrupting sometimes too. I apologize.
After they finish, can I address what she just said about the...
You can, Justice Johnny, after she's finished, please. Go ahead, Empress Sasha.
From what I'm hearing and from where I sit, because I'm working on the banking, we're all the bank. The fact of the matter is, if one is not clear on one's appellation, I mean, we can't even get into banking. We cannot get into banking processes, money, buildings, and all of those other things if we cannot come and properly identify ourselves and our congressional people. And this is not a personal thing. Do not, do not take it wrong. But that's just logic. That's coming from a sovereign perspective. One cannot make those types of misspeaks and expect to continue evolution. Personal self-evolution must still take place. And I know I'm still evolving, but that's all. I'm not even going to get into the banking part of it at this point in time. I know I am the bank. We are the bank. We have to get out of our mindset, the funny mirror, and that's not to say that what we're doing, we have our system and everything else, but I am at this point in time uninterested in moving forward there, because I'm working on the banking. We have voted on, we've come together on, we've made decision on, we've called things. We are where we are, and I propose that we keep going in honor as Congress, together as the sovereigns, the way we have been. And when we come to that point for detours and other things, sure, then there's room. But at this point in time, from what I have heard, we are where we need to be. Islam, I yield.
Islam. Okay. Empress D, did you express all that was on your heart?
No, I wasn't finished.
Go ahead.
I had another question to ask, and that is to the other noble that was speaking about his idea. I just wanted to know if there was, or also this can go for Empress Sasha as well. I'm just wondering if there is, because I believe in order to access a brick and mortar building for a bank or banking, just so that everyone can be on the same page. It kind of keeps everything organized. Now, is there a charter of any sort? Because I know that is one of the aspects in order to have those sort of facilities. A charter is involved in that, I believe. I don't know if that is something that you all have in place.
Are you asking about us or Justice Johnny and what he's doing?
Actually, I have that question for both parties. Actually, both.
Yes.
So Congress, and as well as his mentioned as well.
Okay, we'll let Justice Johnny go first. Go ahead, Justice Johnny.
Okay,
the answer for me is yes. When I say that I've covered every ground or every aspect of it, even what's required with the so-called government, and I don't even want to deal with them because they don't have anything to do with what our business is. Yes, there is a charter.
So may I ask the process that charter took? Was there, or is it one that you did solely on your own, or is it something that was what was that process?
For me, first of all, like I said, once I got the downloads and as I wrote things down and recorded stuff and actually put it together, the physical documents that I forwarded to you, then I began to do research about the banking system. That's why I said it's volumes of stuff. And then because there's a requirement in their jurisdiction in terms of if you want to start your own bank. I don't agree to participate in that. So, but to answer her, the answer is yes. And like I said, the materials need to be forwarded to people who have concerns. But I want to say this about when I say so-called blacks or so-called African Americans, I was one for years to refer to myself, we're black, because I was doing it in ignorance and I did not know. I was only saying it to say this. We still are going to be committed to process that's going to help those who don't know who they are, who happen to be so-called blacks or so-called African Americans, or those who are not. And I've heard people in Congress say, well, how are we going to disseminate the money or use the money with them? Well, you don't have to worry about that because there's a national note that we all can use, but they can't use the personal note. The personal note is your personal note, my personal note that we use amongst each other. Now, all I'm saying, I'm going to present, that's all I intended to do was present to you guys, to you all. And yes, there's some things I don't know, and maybe I wasn't as, on point like the Empress in expressing certain things.
Well, Justice Johnny, this is Congress. You're supposed to bring things like this to Congress. You're supposed to, just so we honor you for that, for sure, and because it's necessary that this be spoken about.
I sent everything 3 months ago, and I've still been trying to reach out to people and talk to different people, and also,
this is the best place to do that. I know emails and stuff go out, and people may or may not get around to the emails, depending. But this is the place for all of that to come. So you did everything right.
The first time that I shared this, I did an attachment directly to you in Congress twice. I sent it to Noble Yatu Bey. I sent it to Empress Angel. And I hope the Empress can hear me. I'm trying to make sure that I address everyone properly. I'm not,
You're doing all the right things, Justice Johnny. Keep speaking. We're hearing.
My heart is in the right place. I didn't.
Of course, we know that.
I was minding my business and got shook by the ancestors. And I'm telling you, it was a lot of work to put this together. So I'm kind of I'm kind of concerned about dismissiveness because of an error. You know what I'm saying? Because you can still take this. If you're working on the process of banking, you can take what I have and build upon that.
Do you feel that I have dismissed you?
No,
No.
not
Okay.
even what was said. I don't take it like that because
Okay, please don't, because that is not.
One thing about it, I look at myself on a Joseph journey, and there are Josephines and Joseph. We're on that journey, and what we've gone through takes us to a place where we have the keys to the storehouse. Now that's about forgiveness, because when he see his brothers, he can be like a lot of some of us. Oh, there they go. They threw me in a pit, rented my coat, and you think I'm.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying.
Before the energy goes there,
I'm just saying. Listen, we have to get to a place of forgiveness. So I'm not going to take something that was said and as offensive, and then I can't work with you. I came here for this purpose. I love Congress.
Oh, we're going to work together. We're going to work together. We're going to do that. That's for sure. We're going to work together. That's for sure.
I've given it to you, and it's in your hands. That's all I ever want to do. That's it.
So, if I may, nobility, if I may say this, because there are a few things that I will say. In fact, I'll yield the floor to Justice Tonis had something to say, and there was a couple of other Moors who had some things to say. Justice Ogunwale, I'll yield the floor, and I'll come back later.
So you want me to go or something?
Justice Tonis, because he spoke earlier. Justice Tonis, are you? Islam.
So I want to be careful with my words. I do not mean to insult anybody or discredit any effort. I think we're all looking for the same result. I'm a believer in Noble Drew Ali and doing what he's and following his advice. I've seen a lot of things come to fruition that he predicted.
If everyone else will mute while he speaks, please, so we can hear him. And I will mute myself as well.
Islam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So,
mute yourself.
Okay, all right. So, being a studier of Noble Drew Ali, one of the things he predicted was, and a lot of his predictions have come true. That's why I like studying and following his rules there. One of them was that we were going to have our own vine and fig tree, you know what I mean? And going and using their system would be against everything. We created our own system so we don't have to use theirs, right? Now, they're not honorable in their system, so that's why I wouldn't want to go into any relationship with someone who's dishonorable. Thieves, basically, is what I think most banks are. No, we're not that. So we need to have our own bank. And I thought that's what we were doing with our own Dollarium that we met, voted on. And that's private banking. So I think that's really what we want, is we want a bank that works. But they're not going to make it work, and I don't think we should join hands with anything other than what we have already, us. Okay? We have money, all right? It's not their money. I don't want those green pieces of fake paper. I want the gold and silver we were promised, okay, and that we're owed. All right? It's reclamation, okay, not reparations. So I appreciate the copy, and I mean, it looks beautiful and everything. However, we met, and that discredits everything that we sat down here and done. And let me tell you, that took a long time and a whole bunch of arguments, Sundays and Thursdays for a long time. So these are just the things that I don't think we should. If we're going to have a bank, we should be in control of all of it, both sides. And if we don't know, then we got to learn that. Okay, and I'm sure some of us already are in that. We heard a couple of people speak. I'm sure there's more. So, maybe we need to step up that process. But I agree that it should all be one currency that we're all in agreement on, that we're using, like they did. Okay, and I keep putting in your mind. Empress keeps putting in your mind too that these people are fake. That's not real. I don't want to join up with fake. Okay, so that's the main thing, right? We can do all of this ourselves. We just have to learn how. So I think what we're arguing is methodology over giving somebody an exclusive contract with us. No, I don't think, unless it's got to be us. They did their own thing, so that's what we should do, our own vine and fig tree. That's my 2 cents worth. Thanks.
Islam, thank you, Justice Tonis. Justice, let me just see who someone just said something. I believe.
Yes, Islam.
Ogun's turn.
Justice Ogunwale.
Yes, thank you. Got to. I mentioned earlier something in regards to we being our own worst enemy, because we know our lower self well. It's the higher self that we need to learn about. Okay? And one point I like to make that's in the Prophet's lessons is about attending your meetings. The key to attending is to pay attention. Okay? The Empress has expressed a lot of things that we come back and we ask questions about because we didn't pick it up because we weren't paying attention. Sometimes we be doing too much and we create a burden for ourselves. When we come to Congress, we want to give Congress our full attention. And we want to learn, we want to pay attention to what not only the Empress is sharing, what everybody else is sharing, because we had a meeting, a Congress, where we agreed about the sovereign Dollarium. You know, we agreed that we weren't going to bring it back up to for what, about 4 years, 3-4 years, I think. But because we discussed about the images. If we decide to change them later on, we'll do that. But right now, we're going to roll with this. So if we come and go against ourselves, we only create confusion and potential setbacks. Okay? So it's very important that we stay the course. And I know a lot of times we get stuck and we get frustrated and we go off and do things the way we understand it. When you do that, you're not moving as a unit. You're not moving in unity. You're not moving as a whole. Yeah, it's cool to bring anything to Congress, but remember what was already discussed. Because we don't want to waste no time. We got a lot of work to do and things that we need to do that we haven't done already, and we're trying to do more. Your 40 documents on the record, lien, levy, and bond. This is important to all of us. This is where all our problems are solved if you truly pay attention and understand why she's instructing you to do it this way. She showed you that she get results. She tells you she had no oppositions. So why can't we follow that and get the same results? Peace.
Islam. Thank you, Justice Ogunwale. And Justice Tonis, thank you as well. Justice Anthony and Justice Atiba, I see you there as well. Justice Anthony.
Yes. Peace and great grand rising. All the most. Justice Anthony from Ex-Mecca Territory. I have a question for the brethren. Justice Johnny, I have a question for you, Noble. This idea that you spoke about, is this of your own, or is this from the ancestors?
It's not on my own, and it is from the ancestors.
From the ancestors? Okay, my brother. Then if it's from the ancestors, then I think that we should look into it. I obey the ancestors at all times, and if it's from the ancestors, I think that we should look into it.
Islam. This is Justice Atiba Day from New York Territory.
Islam.
Yes, thank you. We're listening to all the Moors on this call, on this Congress committee, And there are some very good holding points going on. Everyone is learned at the same level, no matter the age, the gender, or whatever. We all learn at different levels. Just dealing with what Brother Jonas was presenting, and that's all I'm going to speak towards at the moment. It sounds very, very inviting for a Congress meeting to help it to either grow or get better views, if you will. And doing that, we might be doing an injustice to ourselves. Now, we know that he used some what might be or what is considered ill language, for lack of a better term, but at the same time, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that's what you guys have taught me. We as a Congress at all times must stay open to thoughts, ideas, and things that we receive from each other and from the ancestors, to not honor those things and to not be able to bring them to Congress in a just, right and just manner. We might be doing ourselves a disservice. I don't have a lot of information. I have a myriad of, I had text Empress like earlier that have some conflicting issues that I'm dealing with. And it's very conflicting to me, and I do need some direction with it. I will speak to Empress Light, if not today, at another time, because I'm not rushing into anything. I can do things with decorum and direction, and don't have to rush. I done got old enough not to rush, if that makes sense. And I just wanted to input that I would like to have I desire to have what Brother Johnny has to offer brought to the Congress, and if the Congress, if nothing else, view it in its full context, and then vote it up or vote it down. I yield.
Islam. Empress, and then the nobility.
Islam. Anajo Mahat Kabade, Canaanland Territory, Chief Justice. So, greetings, Congress. I will just share some of my impressions this week. So I put up the suspended capitalization law, and probably
the stock market. It was so sweet. So we put that up on the public record, and then I started to observe. The subjects responded as they are to respond, but the Moors all got a little upset with me. Let me just put it like that. They were just not pleased with me in the same way. And what I observed was one of the main points was about due process. Now, due process has to do with being a court, right? It has to do with being a court. So one of the things that came up was, yes, the remedy of lien, levy, and bond was put in place, but they didn't do the command to appear and the command to arrest. It has to do with due process. And what I observed here is that without due process, you're acting just like the subjects in the previous era, where you are, accusing someone of a crime and not giving them an opportunity to have due process, which was an interesting point for me, right? About really what you know about the law and how you adhere to the law and how you're going to adjudicate as the law as well. So these were just my impressions.
right, in this past week. And then the other piece that came up, because it all, I found it all has to do with Sir Juris. It's about being of age. It's about being a matriarch and being a noble. And this is really the heart of it. And a part of that is about your intention. So I've noticed one of the things that are going on is that I've noticed that some, not all, but some, felt that their intention was going to be hidden, that they planned on contracting with the subjects all along and just see what being a Moor or nationality could do for them, right? But their intent was still to contract. And with the suspension of capitalism, this put everything in everyone's face, right? It's in everyone's face. We prepare, we prosper, right? Wealth is a choice, right? So in like this week has been interesting, and I will too affirm, you know, so the tributes have been going out so sweetly. They have such a high, sweet, lovely energy, you know, and so, you know, continue to tribute and just move forward, because we are the bank. You know, we are the currency. We are the current. Islam. I yield.
Woo, Empress! You know, I know I'm not in church, but I want to do a little something with what you said there about due process. Because listen, when due process is honored, you'll already know we the bank.
Islam.
I'm just saying. And this Congress, if there's one thing that this Congress knows, it is due process. Notify, notify, notify. Who have you notified?
And
then know who you talking to. We don't have to notify corpses of anything. We go ahead and terminate that crap.
And may I say, Empress, you know, and so the Moors that were not so pleased with me came to notify me. And I turned to them and I'm like, I know government, I get it, but I'm not here to cater, right? No. And the subjects will be okay. So
they'll be fine.
They're fine. And so please relax. The Moors are here. You know, all is well. We are standing, right? And we're moving forward. And that's what I will to say, is that we're moving forward. And I know that for some, that is like they're holding on to their couch, they're holding on to their coat, everything's going on. It's like things are moving, they're feeling it, right?
Holding on for dear death.
Oh my God.
For dear death.
Right? We are standing and we're moving forward. You know, and for me, in some ways, I feel like it's so small steps. It's like one little step today, but I am unrelenting because I'm still going. You know what I mean? It is my intent. It is my will. Right? We stand.
The steps seem small, but on the other side, just look up a term in quantum physics called quantum entanglement, where you make a small move over here and just tear down the whole thing over there.
Indeed.
That's called quantum entanglement. That's what happens when a small but powerful move is made to interrupt entropy, interrupt the fraud.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
And so we are here.
Very powerful. And Empress, just let me congratulate you. Obviously, I've passed that baton to you in terms of them coming at you on social media for the stuff you put out there. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that no more yet. So you can have it. And I know you can take it. I know you're ready.
Yes. I think they're beer jokes, but, you know, let's keep them on a towel. Let me just say what? You know, tributes are the beauty of the day. You know what I mean? Nationality is the order of the day.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But see, we're living it by tributing.
Yes.
And that is also in alignment with our Dollarium. There was someone else who had something that they will to state where Justice Johnny's process is concerned, and then I'll state some things as well. And Justice Johnny, you will want to hear, because see, we're not opposed to it. In fact, we will to look for ways to make it work, but there's a process even in that. There was someone else. Was there someone else? Go ahead, no, Billy. Justice Mosey Bay had said something first.
Islam, me too.
Okay, Islam. Justice Mosey.
Islam. This is Justice Mosey from the Illinois Territory. I'd like to send greetings to all the Moors attending this grateful Grand Congress meeting.
Islam.
Also, I would like to thank the nobles that's been attending the roundtable meetings I've been having Thursdays. I'm very grateful for the knowledge that I've been able to share and the knowledge that I've been able to receive. And I would just like to say, as far as this presentment to the Congress on the banking, I'm still getting the bonding process down.
Yeah.
And getting my feet wet with the banking. I definitely think that we as sovereigns, moving in a sovereign capacity and being our own bank, foremost first, is the best position. And also, I agree with the Empress Sharon. If you listen to the noble, and I'm guilty as well, and I tell the roundtable meeting all the time that you have to excuse me sometimes. I'm always correcting myself because I'm still going through the process of re-engineering, rewiring my words and my thoughts. But I heard him say, as well as a lot of my students here the nobles here that I'm sharing information with in this territory, and I heard him say it, that he don't want nothing to do with the government. That's something that I'm really big on sharing with the nobles, that we are the government. We are the government. We must change that and understand that we are the government. And with that, just realize in due time you will perfect the knowing of who we are and the re-engineering. But I would just like to say thank you for bringing it to the Congress. I'm looking forward to looking at it, voting on it. But I already know my vote is going to be a nay, because I barely have this process down. And I just understand that if we all get the process down of we're the bank, then after that we can come together and make another move. I'm with it. But right now, I'm just trying to get this process. Don't want to overload myself. I thank you for letting me get the floor. And once again, I'm encouraging all nobles are welcome to the roundtables on Thursday. We even have some members on the line. And
great. That's
beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that work, Justice Mosey.
No problem. I'm grateful. I thank the nobles for showing up and taking initiative to be a part of this great missionary work. And with that, I yield the floor.
It's going to grow, just so that you know. It's going to grow. What you're doing is what you all are doing, because I have to give credit to all. What you're doing is going to grow. Empress Lanille, were you going to make a statement? Was there Justice Nate was going to make a statement as well?
Islam.
Justice Nate.
Yes, grand rising to all, and I want to tell everybody I love them, and we send our love from over here in New York, Satrapy territory.
And yes, I agree with a lot of the nobles on here, and the banking situation, the idea the brother had brought up, you know, uh, it's the language for me. So, when you're speaking to people, to the people who we are as sovereigns, you have to say the correct language. And that's the only reason why you're getting critiqued this way, because it's a little bit of the language barrier there. So it's great that you bring in the idea, and like any other Congress, anytime you have an idea, you should send it to all of the Congress. Email us. Our emails are here so we can examine it, and we all could be on the same page and in the same energy. Because a lot of us, we have flash drives from the Grand Sheik Tajiri Bay, which we have a book, a dictionary of angels, where we like to invoke the angels for the day. Like today is Sunday, the angel Michael will be invoked today. So we all can have a clear mind. We will ask the angel to cover us in our thoughts and our minds and our processes, and to guide us to that straight path, so we can make the proper decisions for our banking system. Okay. Basically, that's all I have to say. I want to encourage the brother to keep doing the great missionary work that the prophet has laid down for us, and I look forward to examining your information, so I can make an informed decision, and vote through through our great Congress here. Islam and Grand Rising.
Islam. Thank you, nobility, Justice Nate. And Justice Nate, we miss Empress Angel, and we cannot wait for her to come back. We miss her. Islam.
She misses everybody too. She will be back soon. Yeah. And she sends her love, and she's Beautiful. Just resting up and getting her mind straight so she can come back as strong as ever.
we know she will. We know she will. We know she will.
Islam.
Islam, Justice Ogunwale.
I just I meant to add this to what I said earlier, but it just came back to me. And I want to repeat something I said as far as lien, 40 documents, lien, levy, bond. And remember, we agreed, because nobody opposed, that our main objective was to start the bank. I mean, not the banks, but the courts. Okay? We're doing court now, but we agreed that we're going to basically lien, levy, a bond, a building, and start getting into these buildings and demonstrating court. So that's priority right now. And we want to stay focused on that. So it means we got to tighten up on the 40 documents, the lien, levy, court action, bond, or lien, court action, levy, bond, so forth. I got a question. Can we only restate after the bond stage?
The levy, the bond stage is the restatement stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gratitude, I yield.
Yeah, Islam. Thank you for all who have made statements. Justice Johnny, did you? I have a couple of things to add to what the nobility has said already. Empress Lineal, were you going to make a statement as well? Because I keep seeing your microphone open, and we want to make sure we hear you. Islam? Okay. We can't hear you if you're speaking. Okay. Justice Johnny, did you want to go ahead and make some statements prior to my statements, or yes. Either way is fine with me. If you want to respond to some of what was said and all of that, feel free. I yield the floor.
In regards to what the noble was saying in terms of the language, when I say government, and I didn't qualify it. I meant quasi-government.
They're not even that, just so that you're aware. They're not even that.
Just for the sake of the conversation, to establish what I was mentioning, because we are in a situation, we are in a jurisdiction that is, just bear with me. We're in a jurisdiction where we're having to figure out how to not, I don't want to spend or use fiat, but the reality. And I'm not, you can, everyone has thoughts about that and know the frustration of, one, we know what trick bag they tried to put us in, and we're dealing with the fallout from that, having to use fiat, and that's a reality. Someone said something about a card. In that package that I presented to Congress, or attempted to present to Congress 3 months ago, in addressing, he said, email everybody. I don't know who, I did send it to Angel, but let me say this. I never had the mindset I'm going to do this without presenting to Congress, and I did that. And like I said, in terms of the language, when I said so-called African Americans, so-called blacks, it was only to the point of that is what the misclassification or the they reclassified our people. I was only speaking in those terms. But the reality is how the government moves forward. They're going to be subjects. Those who are under that name, so-called black, so-called African American, and the subjects who are not Moors. You're going to have a system where currency or exchange is going to be made using the Dollarium. And I never moved away from that fact that Congress has already approved the notes. I was not part of Congress when it happened. I don't take it for granted. That's why anyone that I've had a conversation with, I said, I need to get this to Congress. The first person that I sent it to, the first Moor that I sent it to was you. I did it while we were in Congress. I attached it and sent it directly to you. And maybe you didn't see it because you got a lot going on. You got to cut people off that's trying to interrupt you, and it's amazing. I just want to just tip my hat to you. It is amazing what you have to do to manage this Congress. So my intentions are good. My heart is in the right place. I'm not trying to overstep. And in regards to folks saying, well, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this or that. I juggle 1,000 things in my old age, thousands. And the system that we have to contend with, we're required to deal with literally multiple things that makes us, that kind of forces us to answer. So if we got to do it for our government or for our community, for our people, I'm saying let's step up our game. Because if others can't juggle it, I am ready and willing while I'm still breathing to take it on, but not in enough, for my own benefit. It's for the benefit of my people, our people. It's for the benefit, and it's flowing in the spirit of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And what I would say to all those who made their statements, don't say, I don't want to be a part of it because, or I don't want to approve of it because I misspoke or I used a terminology that was distasteful or dishonorable. That's not my intentions. So the whole point is presenting something that addresses, that's what I want, the main point I want to make. What was given, the download that came, was to address issues as it relates to our bank, as it relates to the notes. And there are issues. There are issues that we need to pay attention to. And so I'm not trying to push anything. I know it's got to be by vote of confidence, but I will say I made it available. I will make it available again. I will not be the one disseminating unless I get an email where I can grab this email that has everybody's addresses on it and I can send it one time. If that can be arranged, I will do that. What I presented does not belong to me, and I've made that very clear. Everything I've done was how it was given to me from the ancestors. And I'm confident that at some point, if not today, in the near future, we're going to be going to physical banks. The Moors will be just like Black Wall Street. And it's my plans out here where they pushed us with gentrification up in the high desert to build, to secure land, officially secure the land that was robbed from us, part of that out here, and built that city right in their faces. That's where I'm coming from. To build right in this county, this territory, a place where our people can go and bank, go to the library, other businesses, entities that serve us. I yield.
Islam, we are so grateful, Justice Johnny. Islam. I do have a couple of questions, so just stay tuned, Justice Johnny, because first let me state that we are grateful that you sent us an email 3 months ago. We are doing everything we can to handle the processes here at Congress. I don't even handle them by email anymore because it's a whole lot. I have 3 emails and all 3 of them are full. So this Congress, bringing it to this Congress's attention and putting it on this congressional agenda is the way that these, just like you did today, is the way that these things are brought forth. So you did all the right things in terms of bringing it to the Congress because it's important that we talk about this. Secondly, to the Congress and to Justice Johnny, you as well. Justice Johnny, I know you said that you do music. Let me tell you what ultimately what I see for us as a nation with regard to this very process that has to do with our money. And we talked about this years ago. We mentioned this in Congress years ago, but we'll mention it again today just so that everyone knows where all of this is going and where it's going to continue to go. We did the national trade launch so that we can get the movement of currency going, because that's what that is. It's the movement of currency. But it's legal and lawful currency. It's dollarium, it's gold, it's silver, it's herbs and spices, it's salts and minerals, it's all of that. Those who are producing, now we talked about this before, those who are producing have every right to take the dollarium, because we all agree, we've agreed on dollarium being our money. Those who are producing, ultimately, this is after we've gotten dollarium circulating, okay? That means getting the work done. Because see, when boots on the ground with the work, then we can talk about moving forward as well, and we're talking about moving forward now. This is what I see. Ultimately, I see that, let's say, Justice Ogunwale, he has some herbs and things that he does over there that his territory. And he presented his herbs. He presented what he had. We saw it. So it's a real product. Empress Shasha has her herbs and things, and she participated in the national trade launch. There are others who put Empress Anagel and Empress Rose Tao and others who have products and have presented those products. Empress Cynthia, Empress Karima, and all who have their products. Ultimately, I see that with the growth of their commerce and their courts and their governing, that they will take the Dollarium and put their image on it so that we know where it's coming from, and so that we know that when we're trading, oh, this came from Justice Ogunwale's estate. This came from Empress Shasha's estate. This is backed by something we know that they're doing. Okay? When we voted on Dollarium being the way that it is, we voted on it knowing that production has come from the images that are on it. Okay? We know that. Our Grand Sheikh Taj, our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the other Moors that are on there, they've produced some things. So we know that using their images says that, okay, we know this is backed by something. Our Grand Sheikh Taj, we know that his is backed by some works. Okay. We also know that there is safety in due process. Empress Anagel brought up, when she said due process, my whole turban just about came off my head, because that's important. So when we're talking about due process, and more for the Moors who when someone brings something like this up, the reason that I don't get completely just bent out of shape with whatever thoughts may be going through my head is because I already know that when something is brought up, whether we agree with it or not, it's going to be tested if anyone go, like if a Moor has a process, when we've done it too, where we say, okay, I got this process, I'm gonna go test my process, and the systemed with the process. So we don't get bent out of shape when people come with a process, because we already know that if they test the process, the system is going to tell them where they are in that process. It's nothing to be afraid of. It is absolutely something we must do. Is test our processes. When the ancestors give you a download, test the process. And you have to look at it from origin to the end, from the beginning to implementation, not the end, but implementation of that process. You know, we've had more say, well, you know, I don't do it that way, like I do it this way. Well, how's that working for you? If it's working for you, we're good with it. Let's put it out there on the public record so other people can try it. You know, how is it working for you is the key question. And I ask myself that anyway, is, okay, how are these things working? Y'all know we test our stuff. Y'all know we test it. We've been doing POW demonstrations and everything and telling you, as soon as we get out and free ourselves, we told you how it went. And then we proved it, showing you the documentation and everything. So even with Dollarium, we've done the steps, not just voting on it, not just that, because that's most important. Our unity is most important, but also with the securities and exchange piece. We did some documentation there because we already know there's something that has to happen there. We also did some currency controller things and so on and so forth. So now we know that the language is most important as well. That's one of the most important things. So I have to agree with the Moors that say it's the language, because we know that even if your process is flawless, if the wrong words come out your mouth when you're doing them, we know what happens. The system systems, and the test is the test. Okay? It is what it is. We are the bank, and so I'm hesitant when someone doesn't know that we're the bank. But see, we would all know that when we've done due process and the due research. And I'm not being arrogant there. I'm just stating facts there. So ultimately, I see each Moor whose estate is producing, I see them having their own Dollarium with their image on it, and we know that and their serial numbers on it, and it coming from their estate. I see that. When we first got Dollarium, and we hear, Justice Johnny, and I'm going to put you on the spot here for just a moment. Because, see, I hear that a lot. People say, I know we're the bank. I know we're the bank. But the first thing coming out of their mouth is, well, I'm just waiting on the bank to do this, and I'm waiting on the bank to do that. We listen to what's coming out of your mouth. And we know that there's a little bit of a gap there, a little bit of a gap. Because people can say they know it, but the proof is in the pudding. It's going to be there. The language is so important, even in your most emotional state, and even in your when you're being tested, when you're nervous, when you're fearful, whatever the case may be, or when you're mad or frustrated or whatever it is, the language still counts. It counts more so then because you're putting energy behind it.
Yes, ma'am.
So people can say they know, but we heard that in the previous era. I know. Even our children will say, I already know that already. Well, if you know it, get up and do it. That's how we have to speak the proper language, because we don't speak common English anymore. We speak ancient English. And so then what we would say is, I do not see this presentment, and I'll say we because I'm talking about me and the ancestral energies within me. We do not see this presentment that you've presented, Justice Johnny, as contrary to what we're doing. We don't see it that way. In fact, it is a compliment. It's a compliment because you see the value in having our own money. That's a compliment to us. And we should all take it that way. It's a compliment. Now we have to find a way to put it together with what we're doing. We know that banking, now I'll say this, and this might sound like a contrarian statement, but it's really not. But I will that there be full disclosure on this. Banking can be done with what we have right now, if you're willing to demonstrate what we've already done. We don't need not another piece of paper. We don't need anything else. Just some affidavits and court actions, and we can demonstrate banking because we're the bank and it's a system, and we just keep speaking to that system until that system gets it, who the master is. Okay? So this is my hesitation when I hear some people just jump right on something really quickly. And I'm talking about not you, just Johnny, but sometimes when people jump on something like this really quickly, it's because they're thinking that it's going to give them a shortcut. And it's not. So I'm just trying to keep the eyes open. I'm just trying to keep the eyes open. Because even if we went with that on top of all the due process that has already been done, due process. In other words, we let the whole earth know that we're doing gold-backed currency. We let them all know. The whole earth knows it. Moors at Japan and Thailand and Indonesia and Africa and everywhere, they all know. We gave due process by court action repeatedly. So now, my only hesitation, another one of my like hesitations on when I hear things, when I hear anything not just this, but anything, is that my question would be, how much of what we currently have you already demonstrated? Now that's important. How much of what we currently have, and we know that the frustration is with the fiat piece, and Justice Johnny, let me tell you, the frustration that I heard in your voice regarding the fiat piece, my spirit just leapt with joy, because we all ought to be that fiery mad about that fakeness and fraud. We all ought to be that mad about it, but willing to channel the energy into remedy. And that's what you've done, Justice Johnny. You channeled it into remedy. So now, I did hear you say a few things that caused me some concern, Justice Johnny, but I know that time will take care of it, and you demonstrating your process will take care of it. When you said things like, I don't want to use fiat, but the reality is. See, that's not even our reality. Fiat is not a reality for us, but we've had a long time of program. We've had years of deprogramming and demonstrating it's not a reality for us. It's pure fiction. There is safety in due process. And the thing about it, Morris, is that any process that we put, it's going to take a while for that process to catch on anyway. So even if let's just say we just all agree with Justice Johnny's process today, y'all still going to have to demonstrate. Everybody's still going to have to demonstrate. And that's going to take time. That's why we don't, because we already know we've put thousands of processes out there, and some are still in the stages, including ourselves. We're still, okay, I got to demonstrate this, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do, we're still in that phase of our godness. Okay? So we know that the fiat piece was the piece. We're just glad that more people are mad about it, that more people have their emotions involved in getting remedy. And we also are happy that this Congress put some stuff out there that people can draw from, because that's what Justice Johnny has done. He's drawn from the work that we already did. That's a compliment to this Congress. That's a compliment to this Congress. And so, Justice Johnny, we absolutely love what you've presented. We have to first task you, though, because see, that's the first thing that was done to us, is we put some things out on the public record, and even the temple Morris came at us. Some of the temple, not all of them. It's a small minority of the temple that was against, but the majority were with us for the most part. The thing that we would task you to do, Justice Johnny, is show your work. If your process works, prove it. That's what Grand Sheik has told everybody, all of us. Hey, if you can, he said, if you can time travel, prove it. If you can do this, well, we proved it by changing the time. So then we time travel, and we said, okay, Grand Sheik, we got that part. Now what? Okay, we got our own money, we got our own processes and everything. Okay, prove it. Prove that you have control of the resources. Okay, let's get us some natural resources and start moving them around and have a national trade launch and all of that. Okay. Now, as far as the credit cards and the banks, we already have a merchant card. It's not a credit card, it's a creditor card. It's the language. It's a creditor card. And any one of you who has a creditor card can send me a copy of your creditor card, and I'll send you some salt. You'll get product from us. That's how this works. Okay? And let me tell you that when that previous funny mirror sees us doing that, the gates break open there too, and you'll be able to take your card down to the store. But we have to write those processes and agree on them like we've been doing. Okay? Creditor and equity are the same. They're the same. Only the creditor has equity in something. Okay. So now, here's the thing. Also, Justice Johnny, I had just a couple of questions because you made a couple of statements, and I just will to ask a couple of questions. This is Congress, so we always ask questions of each other.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. First, and just know that we appreciate this congressional dialogue here. This is important because it's opening access for others to see that we're serious about our money. See, so you said that someone is sending you an equity card. Who is it that's sending you an equity card?
Sorry, I don't know. Did I say that? No,
Yeah.
No one is sending me an equity card.
Mhm.
We're utilizing a machine/software, one to print the cards,
Mhm.
and so let me explain about the bank, the physical bank. So if a Moor comes into the bank and say they want to have an account with the bank to do banking, that is one of the things that they will get, an equity card. This is just the terminology I'm using. Is what came with the downloads. It is an equity card. Is what it's called. And for me, I like that because I don't have to go to Bank of America or any of the so-called credit centers. I want a credit. Can I apply for a credit card? No, I don't have to. I'm going to be the first one to have one under the MGBD because I'm going to be the first one to print it. But what we're saying, we're offering services to our people.
Yes.
And part of that is, and some people may disagree, that fiat is a beautiful note. Whoever put it together, the way they printed it, it is beautiful. And so our standards is far more higher than that. I mean, I don't expect any less than that. I'm saying that when someone comes to MGBDIP, and I call it that because I know how you feel about the acronyms, but
it's not about how I feel about them. It's about what is legal and lawful and competent. We don't want you to sound incompetent when you're presenting your presentment.
I received that, and I will say, bear with me. I'm working, and I'm gonna really work hard. Like I'm gonna get in the mirror and work on it. My terminology. 68 years of being this educated. Okay, so bear with me, and kind of well, anyway, I'm not going to get through this without misstepping somewhat. But yes, the equity card is one of the things that they will receive in that package, as well as what they already have, and that's that credit up front, $100 million. Will somebody be able to walk in? We're going to print a certain amount of Dollarium, and this is only in lieu of what happens after we go through Congress and Congress decides. I don't want to do this without the blessings and the agreement of Congress. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't. I never had that intentions. And this is exactly what I wanted, to be able to present it and have it discussed and considered. But it's a lot to it. It is not just the Dollarium, the physical. Now, someone said don't say note, or is that the same? So anyway, the Dollarium will be printed.
So it is pronounced Dollarium, and it is money.
Okay, the gold-backed Dollarium. Okay, I got that. Dollarium.
Yes.
That money, that gold-backed Dollarium will, lawful money.
Yes.
Will all look the same, and that's not to disregard what we already have established. But I'm saying, from one person, from one Moor to another, sharing or exchanging, they will look the same. They will be of excellent. Because this is my frustration, I cut it out. I cut the Dollarium out. I even made videos, to promote it, and I believe in it. Like I'm a if I was going to declare myself a billionaire, I'm a real billionaire, not a Kanye.
You really are. You really are.
I'm not a Donald Trump billionaire. I'm a real billionaire, right?
Yes.
But I like the idea that I can do business with this Moor over here, and he gives me a private plates that he produced and agreed that he will receive 3,000 Dollarium from me. Like I'm not waiting. I want to do. Just imagine all of us actively. We don't need anything from these foreigners. We don't need anything from them. We can exchange on our own. That is power in and of itself.
We're already doing it. We're already doing it. That's what the national trade launch was and is we're already trading among ourselves.
And I did participate. I'm not. This is not a takeover. Now I just want to say this because I tend to be very passionate and
Justice Johnny, please don't make another. Don't say this is not a takeover. I'm not trying to do this. No, step forward, please.
No, I saw this in the. I saw this in the comments. So I'm just addressing it.
No, don't address it. It's not necessary. It's not necessary.
I think at this point the best thing to do is to resubmit so that everyone can get in. Those who reached out to me, I'll send it to them directly now that I have the email and it can be looked at. And I have the mindset that it has to be tweaked.
Well,
it's not just. Can I say this?
Yes, go ahead, Nobility.
It has to be. There are going to be some things that people are going to have that Congress members are going to have a challenge with, as it relates to the burn program, which is part of that, where we're not burning fiat in a furnace. This is just me. I'm not burning any fiat in a furnace, but I will burn it through a program, especially when it comes to defrauders.
When you say burn it through a program, what do you mean?
I mean that the fiat that comes to me,
I'm
going to take it and buy that printer so I can print the Dollarium. And I'm going to say that we've secured that cutter so that when we cut it, all the notes are the same. So we're burning it by using it for the things that we need until we get to that place where we will no longer have to deal with them at all as it relates to commerce, as it relates to making exchange. That is the goal. And to do it in such a way that everything is the same no matter where it's seen in the world. If I'm doing business with an entity in Africa, they're going to get the same note that's going to look just like any of the justices or the empresses in this Congress. Going to be all cut the same. Clean, beautiful. And I'm not saying that that's not
we have the same vision. We all have the same vision.
Amen. And I'm going to print that. I'm going to print what I got from this Congress. I'm going to print that too. I'm going to print that too.
Well, that's the national currency because that's what we voted on. That's the national currency. That's not going to change.
Right. And when you follow, you see that some notes like I reached out to Taj, and I understand he's not doing well right now, or he's getting better. He's getting better.
He's well.
And if I want to do this because that's what came. If it's possible and can be voted on, and we agree, even if I do it on my own, if I want to honor him on a note, I got to get permission. I can't just stick his face on a note or stick somebody's face on a Dollarium. I can't do that.
So we would, and to avoid confusion, we've already done that work, and we would ask that not be done. That's another reason why we don't will any confusion there. We already did that work.
And now that I know that, then that's off. That's something that I don't have to deal with.
Our Grand Sheik, I asked him specifically, we're going to create our own money.
Right.
Can we use your image on the money? And he said yes.
And that's beautiful.
And also we spoke with, other nations, and because if you look at the Dollarium, there are others on there. We spoke to others who are of the estates of those on there. We didn't get to all of them, but we pulled from the public record and spoke to them specifically about that, and we got their okay for that. So we don't will that Dollarium be floating around that has images on it that the Congress hasn't approved. Thank you. That has not been, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say if we just leave it like it is for now, because we're introducing it to the world, leave it like it is for now, and then later on, and as the states grow, then we can start approving, okay, this is Justice Johnny's Congress. Are we going to, are we willing to do exchanges with this? Justice Johnny's estate has grown. Many are purchasing his music using Dollarium, and now he wills to put his image on his Dollarium so that we will all know that this is coming from his estate and we have it in our inventory. And it's not really Justice Johnny, those are, again, it's coming from your personal estate. Yes. So we wouldn't be giving you permission. We would just be saying put it in our rotation of acceptances. But we just don't will to have the confusion of Dollarium that's got, Lil Wayne's face on it and all of this and that from other, and not saying that you would do it, but I'm just saying we will to at this point, and Congress, you all can correct me if you disagree, but we are definitely going to implement this, okay? But we will that there not be any confusion in it by keeping it as is. Well, nationally, we already voted on it, so I couldn't even change that if I wanted to change it. But I don't want to change it. I want it to be what we voted on because we worked on it. That Dollarium stay the same, and then as the states grow, we come together and say, okay, these are the serial numbers that's coming from, because we kind of did that with the states. The states is each state had, we were looking at that piece, each state, but it's because the people in the state came together to agree on that. And we've not, this Congress hasn't changed anything yet with Dollarium with any of the states. Right now, because we're introducing it newly, and Congress, if I misspeak, please correct me, what we've done thus far up to now is going to be, that is the national currency until this Congress changes it.
That's clear.
Okay. But Justice Johnny, another question that I had earlier, you stated that you mentioned a bank. You said that there's a bank in or a property in Califia territory. How have you gone about to access that property?
We're just in the beginning of the process, and so it's not that is just one of the locations that we identified and got the information. It's not written in stone, but we're just beginning to the process of that. One thing that was considered was to just secure land or use current property that is under our ownership. I think one of the nobles said it's private bank. It's not a commercial bank. It will not be a commercial bank. It is a private bank that will be servicing our people. But
so just so that you're aware, people can come here to this structure and do banking, and that actually happens quite often, especially where our salt is concerned, or if Moors want to come and exchange. We've received gold and silver here. We've received Dollarium thing. So we're already doing banking here complete banking here. So we do have a structure. However, any structure that is obtained where Dollarium is concerned and where gold and silver is concerned must be obtained using proper process. In other words, there can't be any fiat involved in the process. No fiat involved in the process.
And that's what I was saying. I know that there are some things that will not be embraced in terms of the burn program. And
okay, well, if you all, hey, we can't tell you what to do. You're sovereign. We just know that we're in transition, so let's transition. What is that in the chat? Okay. Let the Spirit lead you, Justice Johnny. Continue to let the Spirit lead you.
I think right now my mindset is to flow with Congress and to learn, because like I said, I was not connected when some of these processes were considered and confirmed, and I'm still, if you will, for lack of a better word, a babe, learning the processes and learning the terminology and different things like that. There's a lot that has to be undone in terms of the way I'm speaking or terms that I use, but yes, I get it, and I understand some things that I was just trying to figure out, like explain about what you've already done. I receive it. And I'm gonna flow. I'm gonna flow with that.
We appreciate that, Justice Johnny, because we just know that each one of us has estates, so we have the right for our estate to produce. We have that right. We just know from actual demonstrations by many of us that when we speak the same language and we say the same things and our writings look the same and our documents look the same, that it is recognized. We're in areas that we can literally see, and that there's safety in that for us.
Islam.
So Justice Johnny, keep doing the study, and we would ask that you go back and look at some of the videos that have Dollarium or something about our money system. Go back and review those, because you'll see some of the processes in there that were done, some of the votes that were taken, some of the other securities and exchange laws that we put on the public record regarding Dollarium, because that's all a part of due process. The system recognizes due process. If there's one thing we know about our system, is that it recognizes due process. It doesn't care about emotions. It doesn't care about, any. Our systems recognize due process, and it also recognizes that we are not the same as the previous era, and that we're keeping uncorrupted where the previous era is. So here's the thing. We still state what we stated about the fiat piece. Where structures are concerned, a structure won't even manifest if there's a fiat piece in it when you're trying to do these processes that we do. A structure will not manifest. And the reason that we know that to be true is because we know what due process looks like where structures are concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that should not give you pause on anything that you're doing. Keep doing it, because the system is going to system where it needs to system. And because your energy is pure, the ancestors will provide protection for you while you do the study and do the demonstration.
Well, we say, be brave. Be brave.
Yes. Now, really quickly, one last thing. If there are any Moors who will to see his process, Justice Johnny, do you will to do a separate meeting, maybe on the Thursday, with the Thursday meeting, if Justice Mosey is okay with that, since he's coordinating that meeting, if you will to do a whole presentment on everything that you sent, so that the Moors can look at it and see it. And
the answer is a slow yes, but in this terms, to present it to that body, but with that understanding that anyone part of the Congress can attend or participate in.
Well, yes, anyone can attend. Yes. Justice Mosey, is that okay with you?
Yes, that's fine with me. You know, we open the doors for the round table for all Moors, so
Yes, it's on.
that's definitely, more than welcome.
I would like to say that I would want to, at least know that you've had a chance, Empress, to look at what's being presented, and then after that, move to share it beyond that point.
So, Justice Johnny, that is fair, but I will say this: I trust this Congress. I trust them, and a Thursday meeting with some matriarchs and some nobles from this Congress, I trust them.
I was just flowing with what my spirit was saying. That's all.
I know, Justice Johnny, and we affirm that flow. We affirm that, and we know the spirit that it comes from. We know that, and we honor you. Honor, honor, honor. I'll say it 3 times because it's a spell. We honor you for that. And then as many who will to be a part of that, to see the presentment that Justice Johnny is putting forth, because ultimately it's going to have to be demonstrated by him first and by anyone else who wills to demonstrate it. Because that's how this works. Islam?
Empress.
Islam.
I'd like to ask the brother Jenkins Bay, how far is he in his process?
Well, as far as it relates to the banking, most of
the 40 documents.
Oh,
yeah.
I've completed all my process.
Have you done your lien, levies, and bonds?
Yes, I have. And it's on record, if you will, at nowontherecord.org, where we have documents that are on the record. And like I said, listen, this has just been 9 months for me. In the first 9 months, I was listening and trying to learn from different people, and then I ran across Empress Light, and I'm really want to ask the answer. Why could you not have let me connect with her first? After spending
The reason why I asked that is because the sister asked you about the building that you was talking about getting, and you didn't state that you lien, levy, and bond the building.
I said we were at the beginning of the process, and let me make this clear. I'm not doing anything that don't follow the processes as I learned them. Now, I will admit that I am gun-ho. I do not want to waste time. I'm going to get at it. And I've had some missteps. But for the most part, I'm not going to be out here nilly-willy doing things and not following after processes that go. One, I do not want to be where Diddy is, okay? I don't ever want to be locked up for something that I have, God, the ancestors give me the right to move in. You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, I'm going to make sure I'm following the processes. And when I tell you I study day and night, 20 hours, a lot of times I don't even go to bed. I have not been to sleep when I'm on. So to answer you, we are at the beginning of that process as far as documentation and processes of the bank and policies. All of that is done. And it's an enormous amount of information. So we're not trying to do this alone. And I say that.
We know that I can hear in your language that there's some others that are assisting you.
I have nobody. It's just me. It is.
So how did you see the building?
Because I was representing a client. I want to share this with you. Because of the gentrification, they were forced out of their businesses. And the facility she was in is right a block from the bank, and I used to bank there.
Yeah.
Well, you see, they approached her and told her, you have to move, and we're going to offer you $250. With the processes, I got her $50,000. I was her attorney, in fact. So when I say that I'm following the process, I will say this, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm Johnny Cochran reincarnated.
You're who reincarnated?
Johnny Cochran reincarnated. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not doing this nilly-willy, and I don't really want to do it by myself. But if I don't get any help, I'm going to do the assignments that's been given me and pass them on. That is what I'm supposed to do. And then whatever you want to do with this, in terms of considering it, and I would say be open to some of the things, because what was given to me was to address certain things, even things that I heard in Congress about how we were going to move. Yes, we can do banking digitally. We don't have to have a building. But tell me, am I delusional in thinking that I want to see cities that have our imprint on them? I want to see architecture that have our imprint on them. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to pass that on to my children, my 3 sons and my 2 daughters. I don't want the shackles. If I pass away today, I'm free. I am free.
We would ask that you not make those types of statements, because your word is very powerful. No, you're not going to pass away today. No, anytime soon.
Pass away today because I want to at least be able to go to one of them playoff games over here in LA. Okay, I don't want to pass away.
It's the words, because we know how powerful they are.
I promise you, I'm gonna work on it, and I'm really gonna pay attention to that, because my passion sometimes overtakes my focus to be clear.
We get it. You know, we get it. You know, we get that.
So
we get that, and we're actually excited that you're passionate.
Before I get off, some of the stuff that I see in the chat, the logo is amazing, just beautiful work, and the Dollarium with Taj on there. I have the notes, and I've printed out, and I won't say note, but I have the Dollarium, and I printed
the money. Say money.
Okay, I have the money.
Because there is no money but that. There's no real money besides that and gold and silver.
I have the money, and I want to say thank you to the ancestors, because all my life I knew something was not right.
Yeah.
And the path that I'm on right now puts me where it's the manifestation of what I prayed for or sought out.
Yeah.
So I would yield. Islam. Thank you for listening and sharing. And
I have a question before he goes.
Islam.
Justice Johnny, you say you're studying. Are you using the manuals like the Securities Exchange Commissions?
The Treasury Manual is another one that we introduced as we were doing our study. The Treasury Manual and all of that.
So I was just wondering if he's using the system that they're using, or you're using independent stuff.
I learned something by participating in Congress called restating. There is not a document you're going to mention that I don't have or haven't downloaded. See, because I got to pay attention to all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the answer is yes. But as far as incorporating, much of even the material will be restated in terms of I'm never going to answer to them. So
you're doing all the right things if you're restating everything.
I'm not going to adopt anything. If I do adopt anything, it will be restated, and sometimes some things will be changed. But to answer your question, and as far as the studying, if you go to my YouTube channel, I got playlists. I got a playlist that says Tajiri Light Bay, and I can't. And some videos I done watched over like 20 times just to make sure I get certain things. I got playlists of different people. And I'm eating the meat and throwing the bones away.
Justice Johnny, can you put a link to that particular channel in the chat so that the Moors can look it over, and the playlist so that they can look over the processes that you've put up there already?
Okay.
I'm not done though. I have the next question to follow up, please.
Okay. Go ahead. Are you?
All right. So my next question is, based on the little that I know of the definition of money, it's just a tool, a legal tender that is accepted by all. Just the same way gold is accepted as something, a precious metal, and it is used as the standard by which to anchor your money and what have you. But it's just a piece of metal. It's what we say it is that give it the power. Now, my question is, because in the past they were using it and then they stopped using it and was using fiat. What is there to, when we say our money is backed by gold, what are we saying? Are we saying that if I have 1,000 ounces of gold, I can only write a dollarium for 1,000 ounces? Is that what we're saying?
Are you asking him that? Go ahead. Go ahead, Justice Johnny.
Who want to answer?
No, go ahead. Justice Johnny can answer that question.
I'm not going to say that we figured out which I want to say note or bill or of the Dollarium is based on this amount or so many ounces here and there. What I will say is that I'm aware that we own all of the gold. So if you got a $500 Dollarium or you got a $5 Dollarium, it's backed by any amount of gold that you wish to be. And I'm not trying to be, I'm just saying it's a process that requires expertise by collection. So what I don't know, Empress Light do know. And as much as she knows, as I know that every Dollarium that we have, and we got notes going all the way up to quadrillion, as far as you can go, okay, is backed by gold. And I'm using it.
Okay, so what I need to know is when you say something is backed by gold, like what I'm asking, like the other day, Donald Trump went to Fort Knox to see if the gold was still there. Are we saying that we have gold stored in a vault somewhere, and then when we produce the Dollarium, it's backed by them? Can we pinpoint where this gold is located? I just need clarity as to when we say.
So let me say, yes. You see the actors talking about they don't know where the gold is. They know who they took it from, and whatever amount it is, they ain't just wherever they moved it. The ancestors know where it is. Okay, so that is just, what they're going through is as a result of what we're doing and what we have done. See, that's their way to explain to the general public of the breakdown. They're never going to say the reason why we're doing all this foolishness is because, the people that's connected to Empress Light and connected to, so you know what I'm saying? This is why they're going through what they're going through. Wherever the gold is, it belongs to us. Wherever the silver is, wherever the minerals are, wherever the land is, belongs to us.
Islam, if I may.
You may.
If I may. Thank you, Justice Johnny. That is correct also. First and foremost, we are the gold. We are the silver. Let me explain that. Even fiat gained a perceived value because we were using it. So we're the value for nothingness to gain some value. No matter what it is, it gains value if we say, okay, I'm gonna use this. It just quadrupled in value because I use it. So, Justice Willie, if you want to know where the gold is, go look in the mirror.
Yes.
That's first and foremost. Now, let me say this also. Just for those who feel like they have to have something that they call physical gold when they're physical too. There's more gold at the Grand Canyon, and we know exactly where it is. There's every territory has gold at the territories. Every one of them. There's not a territory on this land that does not have gold and silver and platinum and uranium and titanium and plutonium and all of that. every one of the territories has it. See, every time we say something, the actors, they start acting and throwing up all these distractions to keep you looking in their direction. And now they done went, supposedly enacted going to Fort Knox and seeing if they found something. They're not going to find anything until they look in our faces. That's when you find the gold and the wealth and the riches, so you can look, they can look right at us. So every time I could, and listen, this is why we didn't hesitate, 5 years ago? We didn't hesitate to put a $666 trillion gold instrument on the public record. We didn't hesitate. And back then, it wasn't as many of us at Congress as have know about the Congress now. But we didn't even blink. And guess what? Nobody else blinked either. Not one actor that was previously acting as a bank came out and said, that's not a real instrument. We sent it out and nobody rebutted it.
Okay, so I want to just conclude my questionings for clarification. All right, so we have China and many countries, Switzerland, are buying up physical gold, Russia in the most inordinate way. Now, the question is, yeah, so you shake your head, meaning that they're using fiat.
They're actors. You can't buy gold with fiat. They're actors.
But the question is, we're making bold statements, and it must be backed. Well, I should be asking the question: what is the backative that we're using to say we own the gold, and what proof is there that to back up these bold statements that we're making?
Islam. Can I answer this?
Sure.
When we
just have one word, but go ahead, Nobility.
Talk about the work that Prophet Noble Drew Ali committed to. We know that trust, that expressed trust, solidified and established, if you need a writ or something, that we own it. One, why would I pay for something that I own? I'm not. I'm going to let the process carry out, and we will reclaim. We've already reclaimed our position. We just have to walk into work. I'm never going to pay for something that belongs to me and my people. It's not going to happen.
Answer my question. Where's the proof? The proof. You just mentioned Noble Drew Ali. So where is that? Where can people find that? Because I'm a mathematist. I like proof, because when I have proof, nobody can contest it. Don't get emotional. Let me know. I can say, hey, look here. See there, we have it. There's history. It's here. I need that so I can hold on to that as concrete. Yeah.
If I may.
Empress already answered you in terms of, if you want to know where the gold is, where to look. And I get that part, but I'm saying,
I don't want to be laughed at if I say that to some people. They won't understand that. So, but I do know what you're saying.
I'm let you have it. I yield. I yield.
Islam, Empress.
Islam. So, Grand Rising to the ancient, original, indigenous nation, Islam. And so the question that is being discussed this evening at Congress is if we have terminated all contracts by action and also by intent. Islam, I yield.
Islam, thank you, Empress. That is, we affirm that as well. To your question also, Justice Willie, Justice Willie, we will refer back to the Black's Law Dictionary. Now, you asked the question of how do we prove what we've been saying? Where is the proof?
Correct.
Okay. Do you believe that first in time is first in line?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So the proof that we own all land, all natural resources, all commerce, and we have dominion over the whole earth is based on the fact that we are the only ones at earth that can actually produce and originate the title to something. No one else can produce a title. They talk about deeds, certificates of title, document bearing the proof and evidence of blah, 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 blah. But the one that says the word title at the top, that's us. So now, wherever we write the title and put it on the public record, that's where you'll find your proof. So you can, and you can really literally just Google that. However, additionally, here on the screen, it talks about ancient writings and what makes it first in time, first in line. It's documents bearing on their face. On their face. So it is about the face now. Remember that, Moors. It's about your face being seen. Every evidence on a document means what do the words say and who signed it. That's the evidence on the document.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is the signature on the document an ancient signature? Is it?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Coming from, and it's right here on the screen, coming from a natural and reasonable official custody, and all offices belong to the Moors. Where do you find that? We put it on the public record many, 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 many times. Islam Empress.
Your screen is not showing, just your beautiful face.
Oh, wow. Okay, Islam. Let me you know, we be into our stuff and we just don't realize that we're not showing it on the screen. But here it is. Okay? Ancient writings, and you all could pull this up to your Black's Law Dictionary or your Bovier's or your whatever older dictionary you use, Webster's 1828, others. It will say that ancient writings must come from a natural, and it doesn't say it had to come from you in 711 AD, although we can produce that too, because all we got to do is put at the top, this was written in 711 AD, because we control the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So here it says, and again, this book was written by subjects in the Office of Dictionary Writers, okay? It says here, these ancient writings are presumed to be genuine without even proving it. They're presumed to be genuine when they come from the proper custody.
Mm.
In other words, you don't need proof. If it's coming from us, you best to know it's ancient and it's real. And that's according to the dictionary.
Islam
nobility.
All you gotta do is look up the word right in the Black Laws Dictionary, because in the meaning it says the one who is righteous, and then you look up the word righteous, it says the one who has the right, the one who has the birthright or the blood. So when you just look up the word right, that's more proof on top of that. Islam.
There it is. The proof is in the writing. See, birthright, you spell that word 3 different ways. The word right is spelled 3 different ways. It's spelled W-R-I-T-E, because we do have to write it, because some people discount the documents and say, hey, it's just what I say. No, you actually have to write it, because even Yeshua said, it is written.
Mm-hmm.
It is written. It is written. And didn't say it 1 time, but said it 3 times, because it's a spell. That was a hint to the rest of us. And
I think there's a part of yours when you're doing the court action that says we hold in our possession. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
Yes, the land has not moved.
Mm-hmm.
So possession is a matter of the documentation and the writings.
Okay.
Because if someone says we're going to repossess this, they don't move the house.
Mm-hmm.
They don't move the house. The house stays right where it is. So then how, in fact, did possession change?
Mm-hmm.
That means that somebody else is in there or nobody is in there. Now, I heard Justice, I believe it was Justice Johnny, say something about a group of people being evicted. Was that you, Justice Johnny, talking about a group of people who were being evicted somewhere?
Yes, they were forced to move out because of the development happening in the Crenshaw district.
Okay.
Nation Crenshaw.
So a lot is going on in that area simply because we have made the moves we've made. There is a particular way that our estate is supposed to look as we continue doing what we're doing. Even here at this territory, and you all can see this at your territories also in certain parts. The modern faces that we used to see are slowly starting to move away and not be there. And at this territory, it is exactly who we knew it was the whole time, because we could feel their spirit, and we've even had interaction with them, is the Asians coming to do what they're supposed to do where the Asiatics, their creators, are concerned. So, yes, there's some consensus and some affirmation in the chat regarding that, and they're putting in infrastructure. They're putting in light rail systems and that speeds from here to the airport and back, and you can get there in no time and not have to deal with traffic and all of this all of these things are going on here. And it's them that are enacting those things, and it's still enactment. But there's some things they have that have to be transferred back in terms of the precepts. Okay.
Well, as I yield up the floor, I just like to yield up by saying that the reason I'm asking these questions is that there are many people who are going around making a lot of claims. But you're wondering like for instance, here in Canaan land, there's this Filipino sounding lady circulating that she has the allodial title for the land. And so when you have various quarters making claim, you're wondering who really has the authentic allodial title. The Crown say they have it. We say we have it. This lady saying she has it. So we want to know who really has these claims, can be proven that they are the genuine. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Well, Justice Willie, the one that's saying that if she shows you what she has, I can promise you it's going to be in black ink and capital letters. And if you will to think that that's real, then that will be on you for even listening to her. However, we know the real title doesn't even look like that. Is she ancient? That's the question. Is she a citizen, or is she a subject, or is she a national? Because see, we know of some modern Europeans who were modeling a allodial title. They were modeling it, but the moment we woke up and said, no, we have it, they shut up.
Right, because Facebook I have seen those Apache Indian looking, and say if your ancestors don't look like this, and they have it a T-shirt showing some Indian looking people, and I'm saying no in the comment section, no, you're missing something, right? And I'm saying you're missing what the Moors look like. So all I'm saying is, we have to substantiate. We want to substantiate our claim, and
you have to know too that when you see things like that, because I haven't seen anything like that, but when you see things like that is the matrix catering to your thought process, Justice Willie. It's creating according to what you think about. See, they're actors, so all they're going to do is mimic us, and then see how we respond to that. Mimic us and see how we respond to it.
Well, they too are saying that they were here first before the Europeans got here to colonize it.
None of that will matter because it's our courts that have to mitigate and litigate those things and judge and be the justice over those issues. And we've already ruled. We're not new to this. Our courts have been active for many years, since time immemorial. We've already ruled on that. And listen, when we're being ourselves, they won't even think about saying anything like that. That's why we say what we say about whenever you are face to face with someone, or whether you are anytime you're speaking, just ask them, what is your name? Ask them, what is your name? And then repeat. You're not repeating it back, you're actually giving them a name. And did you know that you could change their name from Lakota Indians to Sioux Indians, and they'll start calling themselves Sioux Indians? Did you know that? that whatever we say, if we say, no, that's not who you are, you're this, they'll change it. But see, out there's some Moors who have stated that, that those doing business as Indians and those doing business as Mexicans and all of that. And notice we said doing business as. That means they're not real. That's not real. We were doing business as blacks, Negro, colored, African American. Not true. There's no such thing as black power. Doesn't exist. I don't care how many times we write it and get on YouTube and say it. It still that doesn't make it true. So, Justice Willie, when you're looking at that stuff, just know that just because some actor is acting that out, and let me tell you that everyone out there who is not you, who is not us, who's saying things, they're actors no matter what they're saying. Whether they're agreeing with what we say or not, they're still actors. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, they do not have the final say. We do. We've proven that.
Do the Congress as well with Secretary of State to the
You're fading in and out, Justice Willie. I can't.
No. If we have in the Congress some of the implementations and the Secretary with the Secretary of State as well.
Do we have our documentation with the Secretary of State? Is that your question?
And Congress.
And Congress, what Congress besides us?
The fake Congress, then put it that way.
Why? They're not even there. The actors aren't even there. They're not there. So who would we send it to? Have you seen those buildings, the stage in Washington? And did you know that they're not there? Because when the real Congress, us, start speaking, they stop acting. Mm-hmm. Let me just say this. Stop watching them. Justice Willie, don't look at them. Don't listen to nothing they say, and they'll disappear. You'll never know they existed. Just stop watching them. Because, see, the computer and the TV is the only way, that's the only access they have into your mind. The only reason you think they real is because you keep turning something on. They don't even come to your door. You just turn on the computer and
I think I didn't make myself clear. Remember we said
you were clear. You were very clear. You were very clear. We heard you. You were very clear. You were very clear.
Yeah, some of the we say we can send our document to these people to the Library of Congress, I think it is, for records. I was just asking if the record of our titles and those things are there. That's all I'm asking.
The subjects in the Office of Library for Congress, yes, they have them.
Okay.
We have postal numbers and things of that nature. United States Post Office post numbers and registration or recordation rather. It was recorded with our Congress first, and then we sent it. Okay. So we have all of that, and proof of that is in some of the previous Congresses that we've had, Justice Willie, so that you can actually get the recordation numbers.
Right.
As well as everyone, the banking, we did our banking, we established it also by way of the United States Post Office, which is us. But we notified the subjects in the Office of Post Office.
Okay.
So that's how we've been sending things without using fiat. Mm-hmm. That's called banking. Mm-hmm. That's banking.
I yield the floor. Thank you very much.
Islam. You're welcome. And know this, that stamps are money. Stamps are money too. That's why we had to create our own and not use theirs. And guess what? The system honors because of due process. So I have to say that Justice Willie, have I told you lately that I'm grateful for you?
Yes, you always do. I'm grateful for you as well. Thank you very much.
You're asking the questions that others probably, some may want to ask those questions, but either they're not able to attend Congress and they actually get to hear.
Exactly.
And then you stay with the question until you get the answer.
Exactly, because
I think that's awesome, and let me show you why. And even my excitement is based on the law. Watch this. Watch this. This is why I'm grateful that that we all come together and ask each other questions. Article 1, Section 6 of the Constitution addresses the rights, and our Constitution does not have the word disabilities; it has the word abilities in it. Of members of Congress, encompassing both the speech or debate clause and the bar on holding federal office. Ours doesn't have any bars. Specifically, it says it grants them immunity from arrest for actions taken during their official duties, prohibits them from being questioned in any other place for speeches or debates in either house, and limits their ability to hold other federal offices. So we cannot be questioned anywhere outside of Congress by anyone unless we agree to be questioned by them.
Awesome.
That's why I'm grateful for your questions, Justice Willie, because that means we are one, we're unified.
Exactly.
Islam.
Remember you say king, as king.
Yes, indeed. We affirm your kingship.
Islam.
So we don't have a king over us. We birth kings. Islam. And for that we are so grateful, because you all know exactly what to do. Islam. With that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from this, the best Congress at earth and at heaven?
Islam. I'd like to clarify I think it's last Congress you demonstrated about the 990 form.
The 990 form.
Was that?
I mentioned it. I know for sure. I mentioned that form. Yes.
And was that in reference to how we're supposed to access the how can I say it, the Treasury dealing with the trade launch product?
No.
Okay.
Just a moment.
I misunderstood then.
And anytime we talk about forms, we're always talking about restated forms. We're never talking about using theirs. And I'm just clarifying that. I know you know that, Justice Ogunwale. I'm just clarifying that. This would be if your company has grants on their books, if they have grants on their books. And it's just informational. It's not, we don't file tax returns. We send informational tax statements. Okay?
Okay. So I must have misunderstood. I thought you was demonstrating at Congress in reference to the trade, because you mentioned before that the next Congress you was going to explain to us how that process works. So I figured that's what it was.
Thank you for reminding me. I totally took that off my notes from last week and forgot to pull that part off.
Okay.
I'll go back because I went back and listened to the Congress, but I'm gonna have to write that down so that I thank you for reminding me. Sometimes we be moving. So which process specifically are you interested in the process for, Justice Ogunwale?
The trade launch dealing with the products, how you said it's going to show us how we could access the Treasury to get the credit.
Okay. Now, I will say that process is still being manifested, Justice Ogunwale. I don't have the whole, I know how it's supposed to work. It's in alignment with what Justice Johnny was talking about having being able to tribute in that manner. You have to have, we talked about this previously, do you have your, you don't have to answer this, Justice Ogunwale, because I know you do your work. But for anyone interested in that who's doing the work in terms of the trade launch, we just ask that you have a spreadsheet or a statement of the expenses that you've put out for what you're doing. Okay. For the trade launch and for your business period, so that our banking can continue to manifest where you're reimbursed for that, because we're the internal revenue as well. We know that already, and we are looking at those processes and watching the manifestation of those actions. Justice Ogunwale, part of the remedy to that is going to be contained in the process where we wrote the check for the $10 million and we got $10 million back, because that's how $10 million is conveyed. Part of your reimbursement is going to happen where you have to have, and I know you all already have this, bank account numbers that you've restated, so that when we start to use that transfer mechanism from the Treasury, which we have full control over the Treasury, from the Treasury to your bank accounts for your expenses, as you turn your expenses in, we'll be able to look at that and get you your reimbursements quickly. So that's what we're looking at for that process also. We already have the Treasury part. We've proven that we have it where the money will go back and forth on the system. Okay. Our businesses, yes, Justice Johnny, our businesses do already accept Dollarium. All of ours do, and gold and silver as well. So we're just going to continue to manifest that as a Congress, manifest that process as a Congress. The tributing back to you of your credits from whatever it is, from the work of your hands. Just let us, if you'll be patient with us, Justice Ogunwale, and let that process manifest among us. We're looking at the same thing as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, as patience is manifesting in my behavior. I'm getting more patient as I go along.
I think we all are, Justice Ogunwale, because we live forever, so we ain't no rush for none of this, really.
I like it.
Yeah. So we'll just continue to manifest that. I have one question for this Congress before. Do you all know the difference between rich and wealthy? Because I just recently found this out. I didn't know this before. I thought they were the same. Islam, Empress.
So, rich is powerful, and rich is actually rich comes from Old English rice. It's food, commodities, natural things. But rich is really something that is innate. It's powerful. It's something that is let me say, it's something that is with you. It's real. It's natural. It comes from nature, and and then wealthy is what you bring in. Wealthy is, I think this is me.
Mm-hmm.
Rich has to do with your natural state at its core, and it really is about, yes, power, strength, and then wealthy is about prosperity. It's what you bring in and build up. So I'll yield now because I'm.
You are right there, Empress. If I may just add some clarity, because you're correct, I just will to add some clarity to what you stated.
Please do.
Rich is contractual. Everyone who has become rich, they had either like an NBA contract or a corporate contract or something like that previously, and I'll just put that in air quotes. And so rich is a legal form of wealth. Rich is legally wealthy. That's what it is. Because there's some paper that brought you the riches. Wealth is bloodline and birthright and generational and can be passed on to your posterity and all of that. Rich only becomes wealthy if it can be passed on to someone else, to your posterity. Wealthy is not a contract. Wealthy is a state.
Interesting. So I had it back to front to a certain degree, but if you
yeah. Wealthy is who you are. That's all land, all natural resources, all commerce. That's wealth. Wealth cannot be written away in a corporate contract. It cannot be written away in a corporate contract.
Okay, so now that makes sense, and it's interesting because in the enactments previously in the funny mirror, the last actors, and actually they were not the last, it was before that, but the talk was always, the word was prosperity.
Yes, yeah.
If I may chip in.
Can I add one more thing, just in Rich again, but going to the etymology, Old English, and it's saying it's obsolete, and we know what that can mean on a greater. But it Old English rice is spelt right. Strong, powerful, great, mighty, of high rank. Sense is now obsolete, which I find that's very interesting because that speaks to wealthy.
Yes.
So I think, where changes over time and everything, but and it also speaks to me, it resonates with me because rice is a food. It's a natural, and you have to have the land in order to grow the rice, to have the rice.
Yeah.
I yield now, but
yes, rich is the rice, wealth is the land.
Yes.
But here is something you want to think about. The greatest wealth is your health. And they say many people spend their life seeking for wealth, working for wealth, but they ruin their health, and now they have to spend their wealth trying to regain their health.
Yeah.
Islam.
Yes.
And also the body, because that health is within the body is the earth. The body is the land.
Yes, that's wealth. Yes.
And so absolutely, you know what Noble Willie said, but that's actually it.
Yeah.
This is why the wealth is in the body.
Yeah. And see,
body is mashed, you have no wealth. You could have all the riches, you could have all, and if your body, if your temple, your earth is gone,
what good is all of that?
What good is it?
Riches are like what professional basketball and football players get. They're rich one day and then 2 years later they're poor. That means that they've never had wealth. They only had riches.
So that's also like lottery winners.
Yes, that's rich. They can say, "Yeah, I'm rich," but they can't say they're wealthy if they don't know how to preserve the riches.
And usually that, within a year, couple years, it's gone away anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, let me just say this too. And Empress Shasha, woof, you have my mind, my turban be vibrating. What we're doing right now with these natural resources, that's the riches. And as we continue to cultivate and exchange what we're doing, we're creating generational wealth among us.
Yes.
Our heirs won't have a worry in the world where wealth is concerned.
Because also the natural resources come from the earth, from the land. But if we don't produce with that,
right,
we are not. There's nothing coming to fruition. There's nothing, there's nothing spreading, growing, expanding.
There's no riches that can be preserved into wealth.
You have to approach it from the right direction.
Now think about the matriarchs and the wealth that we produce when we have heirs.
And we come, because think about that. When we are born, we come with millions of ovum.
Yes.
Millions.
Yes.
And this was one of the things in the other era, Funny Mirror, with all the Planned Parenthoods and all of those sorts of things, they were directly attacking the wealth.
And couldn't do nothing with it because here we are.
And here we are, because even think about IT, for instance. That's been one of the biggest things when everything they've thrown over. And the people, one of the biggest issues in the Funny Mirror for the actors was they keep having babies.
Ooh, didn't they say that? Didn't they say that?
Not? Right.
Ooh, my mom and dad got talked about bad. Because they had 9 children, one right after the other, and people would look in our station wagon that we had and be like,
yeah,
because it was people everywhere. It was eyes everywhere.
Well, my father, his mother had 11 children, and I mean it was common back it was very common. We had, because we knew where the wealth was.
My uncles and them had 18. Him and one woman, my auntie, had 18. They just...
But it was our way.
I was like, y'all just, wow, y'all really love each other.
and again, think about that as you stated, one man, one woman.
He drank a lot.
Yeah.
And that's probably how all that kept happening, but, and she was beautiful. Very beautiful.
That's nature. That's
now,
nature.
Yes. Empress, we're looking at now how in the Funny Mirror, they have this movement coming out where people don't want to have babies. They call it the child-free movement. It's not us. It's not us. It's the Funny Mirror people.
But because there used to be, and they probably still are, they'd have these conferences where they would gather because their concern was they were not producing children. So,
and a movement like that is not going to help.
I mean, but you know what? The truth of the matter is they know the writing on the wall. Because
yes.
Why would anyone with any sense, any connection to life and life force and nature and energy be pushing a movement like that? That's the same as the LGBTQ and everything else to a certain degree,
Yeah.
That's just crazy. But
and then they have the tiny house movement, which I was going to mention this in the previous Congress, but I'm going to continue to say this every now and then. You'll hear me say, do not fall in love with poverty, because they try to make poverty look cute with the tiny house movement.
And the thing about it is, speaking of that type of thing, where I am, Jamaica State here. So one of the where everybody, well, not everybody, I'm generalizing, of course, but that whole idea when you put something, you hold something out there on the lollipop, on the stick, and say, and make it the trend, and everybody wants it. So the whole movement with eco, but I'm even shrinking eco, tiny house, and all of those other things.
Yes, all of that.
People who grew up with pit toilets, for instance, that was considered you're poor, and the people took it into their minds. People are paying $300-500 a night to go stay somewhere with a pit toilet, but because it's it has the trend tiny house or that sort of name attached to it,
and
yet the same people who were grew up natural, healthy and everything else, were labeled poor.
Poor. Isn't that crazy?
Madness.
So let's keep doing what we're doing, because I'm not. Every time I see a tiny house, commercial, and they put flowers on the little tiny counter, I'd be practically yelling at my computer. We are not in love with that. We don't love it. No, we don't. We don't love it. It's cute for you. You can have that. We don't love it. Don't try. I'm glad our Dollarium don't buy that stuff.
Not for me.
No. One final thing before we adjourn, and it slipped my mind just that quickly because I was going to speak some more about the fiction piece. Let me just look to make sure. Okay, so it slipped my mind really quickly. Empress Imani, you asked about the creditor card. Yes, you can have a creditor card whenever you create one, because that's your estate card as well. Use arrow down to upload the correct banking affidavit. Can you send me the correct order of operation? I have all 40 documents. So there's someone who is asking me to send them a process. Please don't get upset with me, but I'm going to ask that you do your study on the process. We've done so many videos on these processes that I don't remember which video that process is in, but I do know that if you click on the 40-something documents, you'll see just about every document that we've put out there in that folder. So if you'll take time to look through the folder as a part of your study for the piece that you will to manifest, then you'll be able to manifest it. So I don't remember right offhand what it was that I was going to state in conclusion of our meeting for this moment. Is there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Islam. Empress Imani and then Empress Minerva. Empress Imani? Barely. We can barely hear you. Can you maybe put your mouth closer to your microphone, or?
It's better.
That's better. That's better.
Okay. So I was wondering if I could get some assistance with the making of the card, and it's only due to my position at the moment.
Okay. You can get some assistance with it. What assistance were you want someone to print it up for you?
Yes, I need that type of assistance. I'm not able to gain access at the moment. I'd rather not state it here.
Is there anyone who has a merchant card or machine that they can print Empress Imani a merchant card? Okay. Anyone who can print her a merchant card. Empress Imani, what the merchant card requires, and I have one here. I print up merchant cards here occasionally for those who don't have the machine. What it requires is a copy of your national ID, a copy of and a copy of a restated a lien, levy, and bond on a restated bank account. And that's gonna ensure that you are aware of exactly what the processes are, and that way we can pull the number off of your paperwork and put it onto the card. So if you'll email me and then let me know you emailed me, so I'll know to look for the email, so I'll know to look for it. I'll print you up a card and send it to you. I can't hear you, Empress. If you'll speak up just a little bit more.
So I'm asking, is the email process good? Because you were stating you have 3 and they're rather full. So would it? I don't know.
Yeah, lightbaymoorishnation@gmail.com. That one has 98% used already, so I got about 2% left on that one. So if you'll send it there. And I try to clear them as often as possible. Okay. Islam Justice Council.
Is it possible you could show the card on the screen?
The merchant card. We have it on the video. I'll just pull up the merchant card video because that's how we do all the, is we just pull up. And this is what we encourage everyone to pull these videos up. Justice Council, you can go and look at the merchant card video, and you'll even see the merchant card on the front on the front cover of it, if you would take the time to look that up. The card is the thumbnail for the video. I'll run through them really quickly and see if I can put the link in the chat for you.
I also have a card machine to print the cards. I did that when he did the demonstration a couple of years ago. I decided to buy one. But
beautiful. So Justice Consul, that's awesome, because there's going to be a need in anyone else who can obtain a card machine, a machine that prints cards. It would be in your favor to obtain that machine. I usually normally, Justice Ogunwale, state that please again.
Go ahead. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I was saying that I've been looking up machines the last 2 days, so I'm looking to purchase one.
Mm-hmm. Islam.
Or get one.
Islam. We are literally freeing ourselves by doing these actions. And this that I'm doing right here, of looking through these videos, normally I don't do this. I just prefer that the Moors, that you take the time to do it. Here's the merchant card video. Here's one of them. Just one moment. Just one moment. I'll put the link in the chat, Justice Consul, so that you can look at that video.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
It's in the chat now. So if there be nothing further from this amazing Congress on this platform at this time, we will go ahead and adjourn until Sunday coming. And then for those who are attending the Congress on Thursday with Justice Mosey, feel free. Oh, just Empress Minerva, yes.
That was my question. You just keep on going, because I'm like, she's answering my question right now,
Islam. Justice Mosey, can you put the information for the Thursday Congress in the chat, please, so that those who will to attend can attend? I will not be present at that time.
Yes.
But go ahead. Yes, if you'll put that link and that information in the chat so that all who will to attend can attend. Justice Johnny, if you will to attend and do your presentment at that time, feel free to do so.
I will be attending. I don't know what I'll be doing a presentation. I like to prepare for that because there's a lot involved, but at some point it will happen.
Well, you know what, Justice Johnny, it's a simple matter of whatever you sent me, you just pull up what you sent me and explain it.
Okay. I will reach out to, I have the email because it was actually sent to me. I missed it, this past one. Because I got the email late, but I will, my commitment is to be present on Thursdays. So I will reach out and let them know and confirm whether or not it's happening.
Islam.
Okay.
And let me just check this.
Here today.
Justice Johnny, we are one. We are one, and we're going to make this wealth continue to manifest together. Islam. Yes, we are. So it was an honor to even do so. Islam. With that being stated, we will adjourn. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam, nation ever. Islam.